Phone started jumping, what a day. Swear to God I need it, now I can't afford to wait. I just had a fan hit me up from Kuwait. Told him this would happen and we not a minute late. Seen him down bad, now they tryna hate. Same ones try to hit me for the raise. Got a meal, now they coming with a blaze. Check the numbers, fam, I swear I'm getting paid. I'm a Don just like the Perrier. It's one time when I'm looking at a face. On the low like I'm pushing up the bass. Told him come down and I'll meet him at a gate. Got a check and I bought myself a place. They get some money and they blow it on bait. I don't flex but I'm pushing all the weight. Told them all I swear I got it's what it takes. Phone started jumping, what a day. Swear to God I need it, now I can't afford to wait. I just had a fan hit me up from Kuwait. Told him this would happen and we not a minute late.
The motherfucking intro. I'm just trying to get that money like 1-0-0-0-0-0-0-0-0-0. I'm here with Gino.
Hey, danger, coming with them bangers. Tell me where my paper. Still on the same mission, trying to live major. Don't hate me, hate the game. I'm a player. Feeling like Pac. Represent. On my block, try to knock me down, but I come up on top. Yeah, they wanna see me flop. Got a plot, want a lot, I won't stop on my pops. Got so many flows, it's insane. They don't really understand the game. Got a plan and it's plain, I ain't playing. I'm just trying to gain. I wanna get that big bag, need that D-Rex. Blow up tic-tac, where the blue cheese at? I don't give a fuck about your feedback. Eat that, get back, sit back, watch me spit that kickback. Got so many flows, yeah, they think that I'm insane. Ghetto kids in a lot of pain, all about the bills, ain't shit changed. Danger, coming with them bangers. Tell me where my paper. Still on the same mission, trying to live major. Don't hate me, hate the game, I'm a player. If you a hater, I don't hate you. I'm just really happy that I ain't you. I just wanna thank you. You kept me motivated, so now I'll motivate you. There's a lot of cake, money on my mind like a banker. Coming through with them bangers, ain't no room for mistakes. Lot of stake, hustle till we get a lot of rooms, lot of stakes. Good kid, but I keep it gangsta. All gas, no brakes. Got cash for the case. More cash in the case. More cash in the safe. More cash on the way. Hustling all day. Ay. Danger, coming with them bangers. Tell me where my paper. Still on the same mission, trying to live major. Don't hate me, hate the game. I'm a player.
Danger, coming with them bangers. Where my fucking paper.
Said I'm taking big shots, just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like the 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like the 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. They been trying to get me cheap like a thrift shop, but I told them it's my time, check the wristwatch. They been talking way before they even doing something. Whoa. If they wanna play, let's get a tip off. Ain't no silver lining, dawg, this some rose gold. Getting new money, I'm a old soul. Yeah, I get it bouncing like a pogo. Whoa. And I'm too cold like Frozone. And my chick elastic, girl. Told them we ain't in the faking, this ain't plastic, girl. Bought a new whip and cash, now my taxi thorough. Way I'm shooting like step with my passes, bro. The way I'm playing the field, I'm in a league of my own. And now they all in they fields, I got them all on my phone. But dog, I'm hitting the climb, I got no time on the low. Way I'm shooting is messy, the way I'm hitting the goals. I'm taking big shots, just stop. Way I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like the 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop, where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like the 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. I just left, but you know I'm coming back though. And you know I don't play by my rags though. Now go and turn it up to the max, whoa. Send a paper to me now like a fax, whoa. Got 2 phones ringing off the hook now. When I'm in the city, I get looks now. I was going bad, but I'm good now. Said I had to go and put my foot down.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming on my landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like. Yeah, you about to see me on demand like. You know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On the road, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream. And Bitcoin taking out the April lows, guys. As you know, if you watched the live stream last night, you will know my preferred scenario was to see that low taken out as we were barely front running it yesterday. We were unable to get above that $80,000 level, which would have shown a little bit of a sign of strength. But here we are taking out those lows. So we got a lot to talk about today, guys. Are we going to get a bounce at this last level of support, or are we just going to nuke right down? You guys know we have a massive volume gap underneath us. So we're gonna have to reclaim this low pretty quickly if we don't want to fall through this massive low volume gap. How low can we go? I'm gonna cover the high time frames with you guys, kind of how we got to where we are, how we were able to see this in the charts, and yeah, we'll go over the shorts. I see a lot of the Mafia is short in the chat. I absolutely love to see it. People, Mafia getting paid out there, whether price goes up or down. So shout out to you guys. Thank you for tuning in. We got let's see. We got Liverpool fan in the chat. Welcome in. H-Bar Moonboy. What is going on, man? Welcome in. We got Ace in the chat. Dave Digital holding it down. Darren Does Things holding it down. We got Tony D in the chat. Trying to control the crazy chat. The Mafia goes nuts when price moves. So thank you guys for being here. And thank you for everything you do. We got Ozgun. We got everybody in the chat here. We got the bedhead guy. Let's go. Bounce at 72K. Yeah, we'll talk about that. But I don't want to waste too much time here, guys. Don't forget to smash the like button if you appreciate the free content here and the free TA that may or may not predict whether we're going to go up or down. So let's go ahead and jump on into the charts. Let's get into it. All right, guys. So here we are. Obviously, Bitcoin getting the dump down here through our April lows. Now, yesterday on the live stream, you guys will know We were looking at the front run of this level. Is it impossible to bounce here? Of course not, but as always, I do prefer to see the lows taken out. This was the same exact scenario as our key level right here at about 80,500. We front run it. We get a little bit of a bounce, but of course, we prefer to take out that low. We do it again, especially in a bearish environment here. And of course, it was the same thing over here, $87,000. We front run the value area low. We want to see that low taken out. We want to come down to that value area low. It eventually gets hit. It's not 100% hit rate, but very right. Like, this is why I anticipate this stuff. I was telling the premium Discord, when you stare at the charts, probably more than your doctor would recommend, you start to understand, when you see those front runs, it is a much higher probability that you're going to come out and take those lows. Of course, holding the shorts here up about 12,300. Over here on Blowfin, got some profits locked in there as well. Still got 12K unrealized. No reason to close the short, so we decide to hold them. And then we also have the short from 98K. I have more profits locked in on this one. This entry was from about 97,500. So literally short from almost the wick top there, guys. So holding the short positions, continue to pay out. All profits locked in. Or not all profits, but we have profits locked in on all of the trades. So not too shabby. And the Mafia following suit there. And guys, what does this mean? As we lose this $74,000 low, can we reclaim it? Can we get a bounce? Now, of course, losing this level decisively would not be a good sign for Bitcoin, because if you guys tune into the live streams recently, you will know, as we take a look at the visible range volume profile, or just the volume profiles in general, you guys know that there is not a lot of volume in this area. And not only were we anticipating, pretty much this exact scenario, I did not really expect it to create the exact shape of price action that we were expecting. That doesn't always happen. But yeah, we are literally, we see that weekly money flow crossover into the red. Massive sign for a potential bigger capitulation to come. I've been very explicit about this on the channel. Of course, unfortunately telling people what they don't want to hear, but of course just keeping it honest here and just showing you guys what I'm seeing on the charts. These weekly money flow crossovers literally have a 100% hit rate so far. That weekly money flow crossover up here kept us, even up here, right? As we continue down, money flow trends out, timing of the cycle, all that stuff, bearish divergences. I won't cover the whole thing there because I know I've covered it a lot, but this is part of the, one of the big reasons why we anticipate this not to be a higher low for a higher high, right? Not all higher lows are created equal. If you watch the show, you'll know we compared this to 2021, and just showing, not to show that, oh my God, we were right, not to brag, but just to show you guys, I know a lot of people see this as a higher low. There's a hidden weekly bullish divergence, but not all higher lows are created equal, right? Like when you have that money flow coming out on the weekly, it is more likely to be a lower high, whether we came up higher or not. Still looking for those lower highs and lower lows, and kind of crazy, it did wind up playing exactly like 2021, where you just kind of get the little bear flag, lower highs and lower lows, and there it is, guys, cracking the low at $74,000. We can now say that this money flow on the weekly has actually played out. Are we going lower? Are we headed to 70K? Well, of course, when we look at this low volume gap, even earlier in January and even earlier this month, or later January, I guess technically earlier this month, but in January, talking about how, if we did end up coming down to the $74,000 lows, this is a very dangerous scenario, and not just this low, but also the lows right here. Once we lose that, guys, there is no volume underneath us, literally just empty gap of air. Typically, price likes to head through these levels very quickly, and we were kind of talking about how this is in the perfect environment when we take a look at the 50 and the 100 week moving averages. The let me just pull up the 100 week here for you guys. Get stuck under the 50 week, 100 week. Once you lose that 100 week, typically you do get a big drop down. And we were in, it was kind of a perfect storm, right? Because even if you are just looking at that, the 100 week moving average, losing that with the weekly money flow crossover into the red, which has happened in every single other cycle. You lose the 100 week, weekly money flow comes out, big dump to the downside. But not only that, but we were in like kind of a perfect environment here to see that fast drop down just based off of the volume. Come on, TradingView. There you go. Obviously, having this big volume gap underneath us, lose these lows, right? Not only losing the 100 week, not only is the money flow coming out, which would make you anticipate the drop down, but also you have absolutely nothing underneath you holding you down, or holding you up, rather, indicating that you could get a fast drop to the downside. And we're experiencing that right now, literally right on track here with the TA. But now the question remains, are we going to get some kind of a retracement? Are we going to get some kind of a bounce? And I will say this is an absolutely key level, guys. Now, at the end of the day, This is, of course, the last place to bounce, right? I think I have it marked off right here, right? The April lows. This is the last place to look to get a bounce, obviously. Now, with the weekly money flow, I would still be anticipating, if we get a bounce here, for this to potentially be a lackluster retracement for a continuation eventually to $70,000 to $67,000. We have our next major levels of support there. We have our lower volume profile, right? Once we start impulsing out of this range, this is going to be the next major target zone. As price deviates from major volume profiles, right? Impulses to the downside, more than likely it is going to seek out fair value, which does sit down here. And of course, right, we have the high volume node up here that we just looked at. Pretty big volume gap here, and then the next high volume node sits right here. The high volume nodes act as magnets for price, and I will pull up the visible range really quickly here. Right there it is, high volume node, not a lot of volume. So if we cannot get back up in here, right, which to me, breaking this high at this point looks very, very unlikely. And if we can't get back inside here, right, well, the next anticipated place for price to go is going to be about $70,000 to $67,000 because, if price is going to get gravitated to one of these high volume nodes, obviously with the money flow coming out, even on retracements, this would be the next place to look. And of course, it is our value area high, our POC. And again, right, like even if you just look at the visible range volume profiles, you don't want to pay attention to all the nitty gritty levels, right? Like it's not uncommon to see once you break into this low volume gap, it's a very simple way to view price action. And I think it's very visual, right? It's like price sticks to the high volume nodes, right? Once you break through that high volume node, you retest it as resistance. It's kind of like a ceiling. And then you get underneath it, you can't break back out, and then you get that move down, and then you could say, hey, once we lose this shelf of volume, right, you have high volume nodes, low volume gaps, and then you have the shelves, which are kind of where the volume starts and ends. Once you wind up losing this high volume node, right, or losing this shelf, well, there's nothing underneath you, and that's where you can anticipate those fast drops down. Exactly the same thing that we looked at over here on XRP, right? Why did we expect this fast drop down? Well, very simply put, we had this massive low volume gap. I'll even pull it up on the visible range so you guys can see it. Right, we'll have to come up to a higher time frame. Right now, we've kind of developed a little bit of volume down here, but if we pull it up, right, all the volume's here. Once we lose these lows, right, not a lot of volume. This volume was created through this price action, so at first, it was just empty volume down here. We break into the low volume gap, fast move down to your value area high. Very, very similar situation. So, of course, right, this is kind of the danger zone for Bitcoin. And I want to talk about the idea of potentially getting some kind of a retracement. Yesterday, when we were looking at the price action, of course, the higher probability scenario is always going to be taking out that low, right? We front ran that low very, 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 very slightly, which I never really like to see, right? Again, typically those levels are going to get taken at some point. Not that you can't get retracements or little bounces, which essentially we did, right? You get a little bounce here on the tiny, tiny front run. But of course, sweep right back down to that low. And really what we needed to see for a sign of strength here, if we wanted to see a bigger retracement come in before we took out that low, very simply what I wanted to see was essentially a reclaim of our local low here at 80,500. If we were able to get a move back up above this level, we might have been able to see a little bit of a push to the upside, maybe to retest our value area low of our range, which was also confluent with our 786 retracement. Right, golden pocket 786 between about 84 and 86,500. This would have been the place to look for a lower high. The market doesn't always give it to you, but that is why the Mafia is short from 98K. And then we had the two other setups here on those previous lower highs. Right, you want to try to, especially in a bearish environment, you kind of got to take shots at the shorts because sometimes price won't come up and give you another opportunity. Of course, we're sitting in those, so that is nice. But we'll see what happens here. We're just going to kind of watch the live price action here, guys. Of course, these lows at $74,384. This is the level to reclaim. Now, when we pull up our local volume profiles, right? Let me go ahead and hide this. I'll take off the Fibonacci retracement, and I will pull up these local levels. Bada boom, right? So we had this, this 786 golden pocket was obviously ran through. Go ahead and remove that, right? So we had this local volume profile. Let me go ahead and get the actual profile back on the chart here. We came up to the golden pocket value area high, could not get above. Just goes to show you the power of the volume profiles. You get back in, up to the high, can't break out. Bada boom, bada bing, back down to the low, and then you'll lose it, right? So, what I would really like to see here is if we can get a reclaim of this low at about 74. Make sure I have this right. Okay, just wanted to make sure I had that accurately pulled to the wick. So we do want to see a reclaim here starting to get, here's the thing, guys. We could get like a low time frame reclaim here, but the problem for me for a bigger continuation up is you can see our 30-minute money flow crossing over into the red. Sure, we have a green dot, but you have that money flow crossing into the red. We also have the 8-hour red dot looking to print. That's a market cipher B 1/16th bearish setup for an overall continuation down. We did not get any lower time frame SFPs here. Doesn't mean we can't see some kind of like a failed auction on this reclaim for a pushback to the upside, but taking a look at the 1 hour, right? We didn't get the 1 hour SFP. And again, it doesn't mean you can't get a bounce. It doesn't mean you can't get a significant retracement. But again, when it comes to the overall trend, I don't love this 30-minute money flow. This would overall be looking kind of like a lackluster retracement for lower highs and lower lows. And again, I'll cover those key levels as we do almost every single live stream. But nice, lower time frame here, trying to get back above here. 1 minute money flow looking to cross over into the green. No confluence there on the 15-minute green dot. Let's check that 45-minute green dot with our 3-minute money flow. So yeah, I mean, we are attempting to reclaim this. But again, I wouldn't necessarily say that this is, we don't have really any bullish divergences down here. No 15-minute bull div, no 30-minute bull div. So again, not that you can't get little bounces, maybe squeeze out some of the shorts. But, for major retracements, the one thing that I will be looking at, which does look like it could potentially print here, is if we can get this 4-hour bullish divergence. Let me go ahead and hide these local levels, right? We've been waiting for this level for quite some time. And we talked about this yesterday, I believe, on the live stream. 4 hour, right? If we can get a little push to the upside, would give this momentum wave an opportunity to come up and potentially print a little bullish divergence, right? And it does look like maybe we could get this now. Of course, VWAP not really curving up just yet, so we might have to wait a little bit for that to confirm. But this would be something that could indicate maybe we can actually get a little bit of a bounce. Like here, right, of course, we front run the key level. We don't tap it. And you don't really have the bull div. I guess you do have higher lows here, but you don't have a green dot. So many reasons, right, especially front running that major low, many reasons to look for this to come back down. But now that we've come and taken out the low, I don't hate this. I really don't hate the 4-hour bull div. But, of course, we do have to wait a little bit for that to actually come in. So I'll cover the key levels to the upside, right? The major resistance levels locally and kind of medium time frame as well. But there you go, guys. TA just pretty much playing out perfectly there. Yesterday kind of just waiting to see if we were going to get the retracement locally, right? Get above that $80,500 low, get out of this value area and get the bigger push up, which essentially would have, in my opinion, still ended coming up here, testing at like $86,000 value area low for another drop to the downside to finally take out this low. But of course, we came down first, which I did prefer. And yeah, we'll see if we can hold this. And we'll watch it live. We got some price action here, not too shabby. Let's come on into the chat here. Frankie's like my therapist. I think I'm way behind in chat, but shout out to H-Bar. Let's see. These are the times to buy. Shout out to Crypto Book. Shout out to you, brother. Yeah, depending on your kind of thought process there, right? Of course, longer, higher time frame. Even if we do hold this low, I mean, this is probably the best place, in my opinion, to get a some kind of a this is honestly the last place to get a significant retracement, at least until we get down to 70K. And of course, right, weekly money flow. Not necessarily looking like it wants to, this is obviously very bearish long term, but to be clear, right, we do not want to get bearish at support. This is the last level, very important level, and of course that low volume gap leads you down to $67,000 to $70,000. But if we're looking for some kind of a retracement before we come down here, this would be the place to get it, right? So absolutely critical support being tested. Please, for the love of God, give us some relief here. And I will say, right, just from a simple volume profile perspective, very, very, small range here. I wouldn't necessarily consider this super significant. It's pretty local. But if we go ahead and pull this volume profile, right, we can use this. Maybe we'll come up here during the live stream and we could kind of watch it, right? If we do wind up holding this level as support, we wind up getting the push up, flipping the value area low. This is where we can kind of look for a little bit of a retracement, right? Get above the value area low, start seeking out the POC and the value area high. We can get rid of this fib because we've already rejected it right here. So we'll go ahead and get rid of that. We'll take, why can't I select this box? There we go. Oh, it's locked. Bada boom, right? So this is going to be the hyper local levels that we're going to watch as we are live here, guys. Reclaim 74.339 or 74.384. See if we can get a little bit of a bigger retracement. We'll watch this 45-minute green dot looking to print. And I would say the next thing to look at on Market Cipher B here would be this 3-minute money flow crossover into the green. That would give us a nice little bullish Market Cipher B setup. Now, of course, bullish is relative, right? I'm talking bullish for the retracement, but we'll see. And then, yeah, value area low if you want to get these levels on your chart, $76,700. POC sitting at about $78,686. And then your value area high sits up here at about $79K. Why is this all locked? Unlock there. All right, there we go. Whoops. Bada boom. Clean this up a bit. Let's see. Buy, please. Shout out to Subi. So again, guys, like longer term scenario, you know, I don't want to, of course, long-term bearish bias, right? But our long-term bearish bias has remained throughout all this, right? When we get the pushes to the upside, of course, we caught the longs here at around $85,000 for the rotation up into $98,000, where we then took a short. So yes, technically, you know, we can be bullish short-term, right? It can be very similar, right? Where it's like, oh, you know, we're looking for the push-up, maybe into $98,000 golden pocket. However, of course, longer, higher time frame calling for the lower highs. Whoops, lower highs. And the lower lows to come, which is why we take those shorts up there. We take profit on the long, and then we look to flip short for the move down. Context is always going to be king. Getting a scam call right now. I don't have a property that I want to sell you. Please stop calling me. But kind of the same thing here, right? Like, you know, I'm not saying I'm like mega bullish here, but, you know, again, like if we can get maybe some kind of a reclaim of this level, that is where we would look for a little bit of a push up. And then again, if the 4-hour bull, if we do wind up getting maybe a 2-hour candle closure here, we still have 34 minutes to confirm that. You know, I would have loved a 1-hour candle closure above here, but it might just look like we didn't get the SFP. But if that green dot can print, close this 1-hour candle above, get the 2-hour SFP, right? And then if we start to get the push up and we see a little bit of that 4-hour bullish divergence looking like it might want to print, right? This is going to take a little bit of time to roll back up and give us the green dot. But if we are able to get that, well, you have a nice 4-hour bull div. You've taken out and swept the lows. Whether you get the 1-hour SFP, the 2-hour SFP, the 4-hour SFP, you know, that could give you a little bit of a bounce to the upside. So we'll watch this 1-hour candle and see if we can close the, especially the 2-hour candle would be very important to get the swing failure pattern. Let's see. So yeah, you know, at the end of the day, right? Like, am I looking for shorts here? Obviously not, right? All the shorts are taken from here, here, and here, right? This is never a place, right? Now, do whatever you want, all right? I'm not saying you can't just nuke through the level. But if I had to look for anything, right, I am only looking for longs down here. And of course, right, we have some setups in the premium Discord that we're looking for. I know everybody just wants me to like take position live here so everybody could copy me, but you know, it's not fair to the people in the premium. And also, I think there's like legal issues with that. I got to look into that because it would be fun to kind of just mess around on the charts. But let's see. And also, I do just want to also bring up, guys, a micro strategy, right? Like another reason why this is not really shocking me, even if we do get a little bit of a bigger retracement here. And I will also say this, guys, right? Like everybody is probably thinking Bitcoin is dead. You know, when you get like now everybody is feeling really bearish, right? I think there was a lot of hope. I think there was a lot of hope on this higher low. I think like at this point, everybody is thinking, oh my God, Bitcoin super bearish. Let's short this thing to the, I guess, Goblin Town. I was going to say to the moon. Short this thing to zero. And, you know, at the end of the day, right, when we have massive shorts entering the market, right, all it takes is a little reclaim. Start scamming all the shorts out, right? All the late shorts, by the way. All of the late shorts. All of our shorts were taken up in here. Of course, we had shorts from higher, but those were closed on the bounce. But, you know, people, these would be considered late shorts in my opinion. And again, it's not to say that you can't just nuke down to 60, 70K. I'll talk about the higher time frames a little bit more in a minute. But, you know, if we do wind up getting a little push up, I would have to assume that there probably is going to be a very high chance of some kind of a short squeeze coming in. And then what could potentially happen, right? Longer time, higher time frame. I would still be personally looking for eventual lower highs and lower lows. You know, get everybody really excited. Oh my God, we're pumping, and then you know, everybody gets FOMO along. I missed the bottom, and then wreck their dreams again. But you know, this obviously on the weekly time frame is going to take time to play out, right? We've been talking about this scenario playing out, talking about these levels down here, which we are getting very close to at this point, ever since 108K, right? This takes a very long time to play out. When you look at the weekly time frame, you have to give it time to play, right? When we say the weekly money flow is coming out, it doesn't necessarily mean it has to dump down in a straight line. it just means the trend is likely to continue. And when we look at something like MicroStrategy, right, this is something we've covered many times in the past as well, right? Almost the exact same scenario. And here is MicroStrategy, of course, by no real surprise, getting the full rotation of the volume profile, finally tapping into the value area low. The volume profiles will absolutely change your life, guys. I could promise you that. Now, I can't promise you're going to take profit. I can't promise that you're not going to put the work in to understand the confirmations. But if you understand the volume profiles, they will very, very likely change your life. You have the value area up here. Once you impulse out of it, price is going to eventually seek out fair value. And this is the same exact kind of situation, right? When we compare this to Bitcoin, upper range, lower value, upper value, lower value, lower value. And we were talking about, it would make a lot of sense to fall through that low volume gap on Bitcoin and eventually make our way here. Doesn't mean you can't get retracements. Again, if I had to look for anything here, I would be forced to look for long positions. This is not where you look for shorts, right? When you look at that chart, it's like, oh, should I short? You've already missed the move, which is not a bad thing, right? It's not the end of the world, right? You can catch a long, right? You could wait for a retracement and catch the short, right? People who missed the shorts from 126K might have caught the long here that we took at 85K, right? And then if they missed the short from up here, they might have caught the short from here. So the market's always moving. There's always going to be opportunity. Please do not FOMO into positions, right? Like, obviously, again, just kind of use like logic, right? It's like, I kind of missed this move. You could always try to jump in and catch the move, right? Like, oh my God, price is dumping, jump in. You can make money. But over time, that's not really going to be a profitable way to trade, in my opinion. Trust me, I've tried to. The reason I say this, guys, is because it comes from experience. I tried to trade that way in the beginning. I was like, oh, price is going down, let me short. You could totally make money like that, but it's very difficult, right? And very low probability. But, again, just looking at MicroStrategy, right? Like, just very similar. When we talked about MicroStrategy approaching this value area, get accepted in here, can't get out, lose the POC, go to the low. It's going to be the same exact thing here for Bitcoin. If we get the move down here, sure, we can get support on 70K, 70 to 67K, which is going to be the next major support level. Right? Of course, this is going to be support until proven otherwise, right? You can get bounces here. You bounced off the POC here on MicroStrategy. I'll zoom in a little bit, right? You got a little bounce off the POC, come back in. You even got another bounce, then you lose it, back to the low. So, of course, right, like I wouldn't look for shorts here, right? I'd be looking for bounces and eventually, if you lose the POC, we could look for that move down to the $59,000 value area high. And if you guys want, I saw a couple people asking for kind of like worst case scenario for Bitcoin in a bear market. I'll kind of go over that as well. But just kind of, I like to talk about how we got to where we are, because if you understand how we got to where we are, right, and why we look at the things that we look at, you can start to understand how price moves moving forward, so you can see these moves coming before they happen like we do. So let's see here. What do we got here? 28 minutes left on the 1 hour candle. We'll see if we can get a hold of support here. Let me see here. Yeah, I mean, again, this is not necessarily, again, you have the 8-hour red dot printing. How long does this have? This has 4 hours to confirm. You have the 8-hour red dot printing, 30-minute money flow crossing into the red. So, again, that does still point more towards a continuation of the trend to the downside. But, 80-minute money flow. You got your 1 hour money flow attempting to come back up here, but you do also have a 12 and 16-hour red dot looking to print. So again, right, like this doesn't look necessarily like, even just looking at the weekly, I want to be very clear. Like, looking for longs, right? Like I would be looking for longs down here, not shorts. But this is not telling me this is, could this be the low at the end of the day? Sure. But this money flow is not saying, in my opinion, right, or any of the analysis is not really saying like this is the low before all-time highs, right? This is the bottom of the bear market. That is not my base case, right? If we wind up reclaiming major levels and things change, right, we can change our bias there. Contrary to popular belief, you don't just have to like make one prediction, right, and then stick to it, right? If you see new information on the charts, right, if this weekly starts looking really good, well, then that's new information that you have to take into account. If you don't do that, right, you're going to wind up being on the wrong sides of the trades. You're just hoping that your original thesis is going to play out. Let's see. 70K is the cost to mine Rio Grande. Some people were bringing that up in the live stream last night. And yeah, that is something to keep in mind as well, right? And like this is kind of the first area, and who knows, right? Maybe we front run it. But this would be like a really interesting level when we talk about the higher time frames to start looking for significant bottoms to come in. Now, why is that? Let me just drag this into. Where is this volume profile sitting? There it is. Let me just drag this into our folder so it doesn't get lost. All right, I'll just put it up. Oh, there we go. Into the local folder. Okay. So if we do end up coming down here, I mean, at the end of the day, guys, looking at the visible range volume profile, pretty simple. We can't hold this low. I mean, the next place to look, there's literally nothing underneath us. And we talked about this, right? Like below the current value area with the lows sitting down here at about 86K, right? Like there wasn't a lot underneath us until this low, right? But even then, right, like there's no horizontal confluence really. There was no MPOCs. And then we did have confluence. I'll pull up the tapped levels here, right? The next place we were looking was right here. But guess what? Did we take long positions here? No. There was no confirmation. We melted right through the level. And this is why I don't set limit orders. Of course, we had a big zone of support here, but we got no reaction. We got no bullish confirmations, no reaction. There's no long to be had. We sit out of the longs, and we let the shorts continue to pay us out. So very simply, that was the next area of confluence. We got zero reaction there. And at this point, right, underneath that, there's not really any kind of horizontal levels other than this low, which, of course, you can sweep and get bounces from. But, if we lose this, the only place to look is right here. And that POC and this value is could act as a magnet for price, or will act as a magnet for price once we lose this low. And then, again, you have a very clear view or a clear blueprint on where price is going to go next. Sure, a little bit of support, break down below the POC, very likely to see the value area low. And we saw that one-to-one happen on MicroStrategy. Our bias was, not our bias, but our thought process was, hey, if we get accepted into this range, eventually you're headed down to fill that whole volume profile. Super, super high probability to see those volume profiles filled. And there it is, right? We don't make this stuff up. I didn't invent this stuff, right? This isn't me just making guesses off of something that I just randomly drew on the chart, right? This is based off volume profiles. This is why they have such a high hit rate. So there you go, right? Like, if we lose this range, we're probably headed down towards this range. Get a little support. Once we get stuck in it, very high probability of the full fill, right? We see this happen time and time again. 5-minute, 20-minute, 15-minute, 2-hour, weekly. Doesn't matter. It's going to happen. Higher probability than not. This is how price moves, right? It's all just an auction. Never set limit orders. Yeah, shout out to New Earth Guardian. Maybe for like spot buys, right? Like when it comes to buying the bottom of the bear market or attempting to buy the bottom of the bear market. I can say we did do that here last cycle. I do set DCA bots, right? So in that case, it's like I'm not really paying attention. I just know the area that I want to continue to dollar cost average in at. But when it comes to like the tactical, technical trades, of course, right? Like perfect example, what I just showed, right? All that confluence we had here. It's always going to be like you want to set the confluent levels where there's a high probability of a reaction, and then it's an if this then that statement, right? You have to look for the reaction, look for the confirmation. So when we see those levels, right, it's like, hey, I want to wait. I don't see anything in here. I'm going to wait for price to gravitate towards all this confluence. Once I tap that level, boom, now I'm interested. Let me look. Am I getting any confirmations? Okay, never mind. We just nuked right through it. No trade to be had, right? Now, if we had come in here, maybe gotten a bounce, right? And we got some bullish divergences, reclaimed the level. You have to look for some kind of an entry confirmation. There's many different entry confirmations you can look at. But of course, it's like no reaction here, right? There's no reason to long this. Imagine having a limit order set here to long, and they just nuke right through the level. Well, maybe it'll go back up. Nah. Maybe it'll go back up. Nah, right? No confirmation there, right? And of course, we sat out of not only these longs, right? We also sat out of these longs and these longs, right? There was all confluence here. No real confluence here. I wasn't even interested in this level. But of course, we were interested in longs here, did not take them. But you're not going to make money then. Like what? Well, you're short from the highs, right? Short from here, short from here. I'm not short from here, but we did have the setup in the Discord from here. So no trade, no confirmations, no trade. Sit on your hands. And if you're not in a short, right, I don't know. You can FOMO short, but I would never recommend that. I would just wait for a clear setup. But, sit out, no confirmations, sit out, no confirmations. Now down here, maybe not necessarily the same idea, right? Because if we get that 4-hour bullish divergence, sure, you might not get the most tactical wick entry. But if you see bullish divergences at this low with maybe a high time frame SFP, well, that could indicate you get a little bit of a bounce. But again, higher time frame, still going to be looking for lower highs and lower lows. And again, I'll cover those resistance levels with you guys right now. But real quick, before I do that, I had a lot of people asking me about like kind of the higher time frame, thought process. I know a lot of people are probably anticipating something along the lines of this, right? Drops down to like 30K, right? I think a lot of people are looking for the traditional 70 to 80% correction. This would pretty much bring us, last cycle was about 77% drop. If we drag it here from 126K, we'll just go 77%. If we get the same drop, it brings you down to like 27K. Am I anticipating this? I will say this, right? If the 4-year cycles repeat, and this time is not different, right? This time is just going to be the same as all the other times. It would be anticipated, in my opinion, to see between 70 and, again, when we look at the cycles, there are, not only are there diminished returns, right? Like if you bought the bottom here, 55,000%, right? Like insane. If you bought the low here, still insane, 12,000%, but not as much as 55,000, right? If you bought the lows in 2018, you got 2,000, still insane, but not as much as 20 or whatever this was. What did I say this was, 12? Not as much as 12, not as much as 55. And then if you bought the bottom of this cycle, right, you get 700%. And I think this is why a lot of people thought that like the bull market had not started yet. But there are diminished returns as the asset matures, but at the same time, right, the same thing happens with the drops to the downside, right? The first cycle, you get about an 86% dump, and then, of course, it gets lower and lower. 2021 was a 77% dump, so you could anticipate maybe a little bit of a lackluster dump here. If we got 77% last time, maybe it's like 75%, which would bring you down to about 30K. There's two scenarios here, guys, and I've drawn this out many a times. I think maybe if we get the early bottom, right? Maybe a lot of people are saying this time is different for a plethora of different reasons. And I think maybe the 4-year cycle is still intact, but maybe the thing that is different is not that what everybody always wants, which is bear market is clearly looking like it's coming in 100K, right? Bear market is looking like it's likely coming in 250K, right? This happens every single cycle. This time is different. This time is different. I talk about this all the time. But maybe the 4-year cycle is still technically intact, and maybe we see the bear market be a little bit more shallow. Maybe it is a little different, right? Obviously, the cycles are not guaranteed to stick to the 4-year cycle every single time. At the end of the day, right, of course it does line up with the halving cycles, but price follows traditional markets, right? I've covered this a lot, showing SPY laid over Bitcoin. If stocks are in a bear market, Bitcoin's in a bear market. If stocks are in a bull market, Bitcoin's in a bull market. I know stocks had been running up past Bitcoin as Bitcoin was dumping, but this also happened in 2021 where stocks continued to go on a run as Bitcoin was breaking down. But I think the two major scenarios, I'll just keep it nice and clean. 70 to 69K, I'm going to call it a range, right? This is obviously a confluent level between 67 and 70K, but this does run down to about 59K. Maybe we come down, right? Whether we get the bounce from here or not, right? Maybe we come down here, we play around, right? Following suit on MicroStrategy. This is the first place where I would be entertaining a potential low to come in. I'm not saying the bottom of the bear market is going to be here. There's no way for me to know that until we come play around with these levels, right? I don't know what price is exactly going to do. I know it seems like that sometimes, but it's not true. We just have to find the highest probability scenarios, analyze price as we come into the levels, and then make the decision. So this would be the first place I'd be interested in. And just like those local levels where we sat out of the longs, it's the same thing on a higher time frame. If we come down here, I'm saying this is interesting. What does price look like when we come in here? If it looks like trash, I will be anticipating another drop down. But this would be kind of the best case scenario where we see a little bit of a muted bear market, 70 to 59K, maybe the bottom comes in somewhere there, and we end up coming into all-time highs. In my opinion, although this is on the table, it almost seems too good to be true, guys. If we go down 53%, and that's the bottom of the bear market, this was the easiest bear market ever. Like, I wouldn't even really, that would be the most walk-in-the-park bear market I've ever seen personally, or just that's ever happened on Bitcoin. So that would be kind of like the best case scenario. This is the first major level. This would also give you a retest of your previous all-time high, although, right, obviously the all-time high confluent here with the POC, it's okay to slip the all-time high. We did this back in 2017. Same exact scenario. We took a look at this yesterday, right, about 20K, right? We come down to test the high, we slip it, we get the move up. So this will be kind of similar, right? Test the all-time high, slip below it, maybe deviate below the low. We'll have the beautiful context of the volume profiles down here, keeping us nice and cozy, understanding, where price is likely to go. But that could be a scenario that I would look at, right? Retest the all-time high. It makes a lot of sense if you dip below it like we did here in 2022, because you have major support down below. You have the volume profile, and likely very clear signals down there as well. So that would be best case scenario. Worst case scenario would just simply to be the 4-year cycle repeating exactly exactly how it has in the past, giving us maybe a slightly diminished loss of about 75%, which would bring us down to a very, very, very interesting level. Keep in mind, about $31,000. Do we have key levels at $31,000? Well, not only do we have key levels, but it would be the exact levels that I would look at based on the volume profiles, right? Sitting at about $30,000. I'm kind of just drawing this. I'm not drawing this like perfectly. I'm just kind of showing you the value area. There's your lower range. Just like on MicroStrategy or any other price that we look at, Impulse, price seeks out fair value. This would be the next place for price to play around with. When we lose this, price is going to interact with this next lower profile, right? It's just like, lose this, look down. Where's your volume profile? Right here. Lose this, look down. Where's your volume profile? Right here. And this is the Bitstamp chart. Our Bybit POC is actually at it's up here. I can actually get this to print if I pull the profile a little bit differently. I look at the Bybit chart, but of course, we do have a $47,000 POC here on Bybit. So this would be the next major level of support. So even in the best case scenario, if we did have to slip this, we could hold this as support, again, giving you kind of the muted bear market. And then once we lose decisively about 47 to 48K, lose this POC of the range, very simply put, expecting the drop down to the value area low. And that would give you that almost exactly expected traditional 4-year cycle bear market of about 75%, 76%, a little less than the previous cycle, right into a key level. This is also confluent with the macro golden pocket right here, right? Low, high, higher low, higher high, potentially, right? So those are the two major scenarios that I have. I would say like the biggest macro targets, 70 to 59K, lose that. I'd be looking to about 52 to 47, lose that, probably getting a move down towards about 30. But we're going to play it level to level. We end up coming down here, we'll entertain the idea of potentially looking for bottoms. Once we get accepted into this range, that's where the bigger drop can come. I think a lot of people are just going to, at a base case, expect this to be what happens because of the 4-year cycle. So we'll see what happens. But that's kind of my thought process there on the higher time frames, very simply put. Simple volume profile perspective. Now let's come on back here to the lower time frames and see what's going on. All right, so 2 hour, still trying to get that SFP. Got about 14 minutes left for that. Let me come on into the chat. Shout out to Doorman. Said this bull market was not as volatile as the past bull runs, so maybe this bear market is not as deep this time. Shout out to Droman. That is exactly what I'm explaining. The logarithmic regression, as the asset matures, the market cap gets higher, the asset stabilizes, right? That's why you see things like the stock market not getting the crazy 30% swings that Bitcoin gets as often. So absolutely, right? Like not only is that what you would expect, but it is literally what has happened. It's like how it works, right? It's kind of like just how the maturization, I don't think that's how you use that word, but as the asset matures, that is what it is, right? 55,000, like 88,000, $55,000 gain, right? Or 55,000% gain, and then like an 80-something% drop, right? 12,000% gain for a less drop, right? Then you get a, whatever this was, like 2,000% gain for a less drop, and then you get a 700% gain, less drop. Like that would be expected, right? So, that could be the case. Absolutely could be the case. Doesn't mean that you can't just get we get some kind of crazy black swan to happen or something. Definitely not impossible to just continue nuking down. But there you go. Tons of liquidity down to 70K. Let's take a look at the liquidation heat maps real quick. Where we at here? All right, so let's go ahead and refresh this. All right, so you do have some, liquidity up here, 79,000. So just like looking at the 2 week here, let me actually pull up the 1 week real quick. Don't forget to smash the like button, guys, if you appreciate the free content. 79K, you got some liquidity sitting above these highs. And again, like I said, if everybody, right, again, no reason to really feel bearish here. Not that I don't think we've had any major narratives come in. But a lot of hope here, in my opinion. I know everyone felt bearish here, but in my opinion, think there was a lot of hope here. Higher low, higher low, higher low. And we come up here every single day. Thank God, right? Not all higher lows are created equal. I know this is a higher low. That's a valid point. I can't argue that. This is low. That's a higher low, right? But when your weekly money flow is coming to the downside like it is here, that higher low is not created the same as a higher low like this or this, right? When you have that crossover, it's like probably going to be a lower high and a lower low, not a higher low and a higher high. That is like one of the big reasons, right? People say, like, Frankie, why would you not look for, like, a lot of people ask me, why are you not looking for all-time highs? This is a perfect higher low. And again, I can't argue the fact that it's a higher low, but it's, I've been in this market for a very long time. I've been trading for a very long time. I've been doing TA for a very long time. It's like literally all you have to, and I always bring this back to just show people, right? Like that's a higher low too. And you have the bullish divergence here, the hidden bull div on the weekly. Same thing here. And it's not the fact that they're similar, right? It's just that it's not the fact that they look similar, so I expect that to play out. It's just the fact that in this case, higher low is not created as a higher low and a higher high. It is treated as a very likely, right? Like you're only going to put in the higher lows and higher highs until the trend changes. The money flow will help you understand when that macro trend changes, right? And Market Cipher B is so simple, right? Weekly money flow crossover, very likely not only a bear market, but at least more downside incoming, right? Even if this is the bottom, right? Not my necessarily anticipation right now. But like if this is the bottom for all-time highs, that money flow on the weekly was still keeping you on the right side of the trades, indicating the trend will continue down. Money flow very rarely lies, and it's very simple to look at. You can even set alerts when it crosses red. But just like this was not treated as a higher high situation, it is treated as a lower high and a lower low. Same exact thing here. Yes, hidden weekly bullish divergence. Yes, that can give you a bounce. But that bounce, right? Not all bounces are bullish. Oh my God, we're up 20%, right? I don't know how great that is, but oh my God, we're up 20%. How could you be bearish, right? Well, look at that, right? Very high probability of the trend change there. And I like to go over this so you guys can learn and use this to your advantage. Shout out to Perry, said, you saved me a lot of money, Frankie. Thank you. I sold everything that I have. Thank you. Shout out to Perry. Not that you should ever make decisions off what I say. I'm not a financial advisor. This is never financial advice. Take this information, apply it to the charts, right? I recommend, I always tell people, go back test this stuff, right? If I say weekly money flow has a 100% hit rate, go test it, right? Go mark out the weekly money flow crossovers. And, who knows, right? I mean, obviously, it is the case, right? But, if you go and check those and price just rips up from every weekly money flow crossover into the red, then ignore what whoever's telling you what to do, or trying to share something with you, forget that information, right? You have to test it yourself. When someone says, all-time highs, all-time highs, all-time highs, right? It's like, well, why, right? Like, explain it. Right? And now there are reasons, right? I'm not saying there's no reason to maybe entertain the idea of all-time highs, right? Anything can happen. But I think a lot of people were just ignoring all the high time frame bearish signals that we had. And you could take the bullish information in, but you can't just take only the bullish information. You have to take the bullish case, the bearish case, weigh the evidence pieces. Whatever list is longer is usually the higher probability. And the charts are the truth. Forget a narrative, forget a news event. Doesn't matter, right? The charts are usually the truth, and whatever the news is kind of just follows suit, right? The news just kind of follows suit. Let's see. What indicator is that money flow? This is Market Cipher. You can check the link in the description down below. It is a paid indicator. You don't need it to make money, to be very clear. I'm not just like shilling an indicator, but if you will, our link will save you money if you want to check it out. Or you can just watch the live streams. Let's see. No liquidity 74.5K swept, now rallied to 100K. Shout out to Khan. Yeah, I mean, listen, I wouldn't necessarily make that my base case. I wouldn't just say we swept the liquidity, you have to go to 100K. Is it impossible, right? Well, I was looking at it from a higher time frame perspective. Let's pull our Fibonacci retracement. So I would just pull it from the high all the way to the low. Whoops. All the way to the low. $102,000. Just see something here. Yeah, I probably would look at the log. Yeah, about $102,000. Let's pull it here. I mean, you still got to get above. This high is gonna be difficult, right? Because if you're gonna continue a clean, in my opinion, the move to the 50-week moving average, right, which is sitting at about $102,000. I could actually update you guys on that real quick. This now sits at about 100, almost $100,000, 100,206. Yeah, I mean, you're going to have to get above all this. And then again, if you bring up your horizontal resistances, right, all your confluences, and again, support, right? Again, if we see those bullish confirmations, a retracement can happen. And at the end of the day, I would take it level to level, right? If we can reclaim this low, well, we can look for a push up into this range. If we start breaking out here, right, like in my opinion, right, like the level you really need to break above to see the 50-week or even 100K, like you got to get above $92,000. And in a bearish environment like this, I am much more inclined to look for shorts for a lower high and a lower low. Now, this big retracement is not guaranteed, right? You have tons of resistance back down here at about 86K. So like that's not guaranteed, but like I wouldn't even be entertaining there's nothing about this that I would necessarily say that brings us to 100K, right? Because you're going to have to not only fight this, lower high would be very likely. This would be the last place to look for a lower high. It's not until I flip this level where I'd be looking for a break of this high, which sits at a 98K. And you need to break 98K to get to 100K. And then you bring up your horizontal resistances, right? Like, do we have a lot of confluence of resistance up there? All right, and I'll just hide the I'll just hide the lower levels just so it looks nice and clean, right? You got 2 daily MPOCs here. You got, like, massive resistance above you now, right? With basically no support down below until 70 to 67K. So, like, you got to, and again, it's not that you can't fly through those levels, right? But you just got a lot of work to do up in here in order to get to 100K, right? Like, you just have these, like, massive wall to get through. And again, money flow coming out is going to make the higher probability, right? Like, everyone's like, we have to, we put the low in here. We have to go to the 50-week moving average now. And it's like, yes, plausible thought, right? 100% plausible thought. But, of course, that is never guaranteed, right? And now, if the money flow on the weekly is indicating lower highs and lower lows, that's the lower high, right? Well, necessarily, no necessarily guaranteed move to $100,000. But I would say if that's going to happen, if you're going to get the push to 100K, like it to happen here, to be quite honest. Shout out to B. Havish. Shout out to you, bro. Said, hey, bro, hope you're doing well. Is the live stream time changed these days? Yeah, we've been going live earlier during the day in 2026. So, yeah, shout out to you, brother. Welcome in. Good to see you. Duck it. Let's long with FOMO. Shout out to Yoda. Let's do it. Let's do it, baby. No stop loss. I mean, hey, people always ask me, like, hey, can you tell me what you think about my trade? Like, somebody said this in the premium Discord yesterday, and, a lot of times people will be like, I shorted. Like, what do you think? I'm short right now. I'm short from 73,700. Like, do you think I should hold it or close it? Was it a good trade? Right? And of course, I can never tell you what to do with your trade. I never will, right? It's not my job. I can't, anything can happen, right? And like, I'm not going to get blamed for your trade not playing out, right? But, if someone says that, my thought is, I mean, you're shorting into support, right? And that's where I always say, like, if I were to look for anything here, if I'm looking for longs down here, right? I'm not looking for shorts, right? All my shorts are held from higher, which I know sounds crazy. People are always like, price is pumping. Why are you shorting? We just hit 98K. We're going to the 50-week moving average. You idiot. Why would you short? And it's like, because these are the places to short. You want to short as you're coming into key resistance on the move up so you can catch the top and enjoy the move down. If you miss this one, wait for the retracement. Try to catch the top for a move down. If you miss this one, wait for a retracement to catch the lower high for the top for the move down, right? You don't necessarily want to push into a level of support and short, even if you're going to continue down, right? It's going to be a very wild and stressful ride. Sure, we hit support here at about almost $82,000. You could have shorted there, and you would have been in drawdown and then eventually had it play out. Now, if that's part of your plan, that's totally fine. But you're probably going to short into support and instantly be in drawdown, at least for some portion of time. And a lot of times, it's just going to wreck you. So you would want to wait for the push up, see the signs of weakness, see the entry triggers, see the bearish confirmations, and then get in at the top and enjoy the drop down. For me personally, right, if I was not holding my shorts from up here, I'm looking at this move down, and it's like, I mean, man, I missed the move. I need some kind of a retracement. So let's cover some of the resistance levels ahead. Shout out to John Baker, said, Frankie, how high could you see Bitcoin going in the next bull run? It's super early for me to kind of call that. Really, really difficult. It's like just way too far away. It would have to, depending on how low we go, depending on, what the chart looks like halfway through the bull run. Like, there's so much stuff that goes into that. I think a lot of people are starting to realize, like, a lot of the people, and like the reason, when I say that, it's because I literally can't do that. There's just not enough information right now. A lot of people is like, hey guys, like when you're down here, it's like Bitcoin's going to go to $100,000, right? We didn't get anywhere near it in this bull run. Even like reputable like news articles and like banks, this person calls for Bitcoin to $250,000, and it's like, maybe we go there now, right? And again, not my base case, but like everyone just like, oh, we're going up here, and I always scratch my head, and I'm like, I just don't understand how you can call that so confidently. There's just like no way, right? You could say like, well, this bullish thing's gonna happen, and then like when this happens, and they approve this, and like then the liquidity's gonna flow in, and then we're gonna go up to this exact number. Nobody can do that, guys. I promise you that, right? Like, nobody knows exactly where this thing is going. The best chance of understanding, at least, like, that's why I always say you have to be like a discretionary trader. When we had this bull run start, I had targets, right? But I'm always very explicit about my targets. Just if I have a target, right, and I'll just pull up just like a very simple Fibonacci extension. I kind of had customized Fibonacci extensions that I was looking at, right? But if I pull up these, and I just base these simply off Fibonacci extension levels, right? It's like nothing I invented. It's no secret thing. It's not, I'm not watching, I'm not watching any kind of like, I don't have any secret information or anything like that. But our first major target was between 92, right? I didn't have this extension on the chart, between about 92 and $102,000. We come up there, right? We get a pullback, right? I did not, of course, think this was the bear market. A lot of people were scared here. We were still above the 50-week. We still had time in the cycle to go to a new high. We had massive bullish confirmations. Money flow still in the green, looking for new highs. We get it. The next major target, right, was, let me go ahead and, where is my... I think it's the 1, 2, 3, 6. Okay, so this was major target number 1, right? We obviously covered all these on the live streams, right? There's target number 1. We come up, sure, we get a little resistance, right? I did take a little bit of profit here on my Bitcoin. We get the pullback. We look for the new high. Now the next targets, right? Technically off this fib pull was $137,000. This, and I always say, right? Like there's no guarantee we get up to 137,000, right? This is where you could find your local targets, right? Where you would pull from the high to the low, right? Now you have your next extension target, and this is what we started to look at as we got this new high. Once we put in this low, you pull from the high to the low. You have these Fibonacci extension targets. So these are the macro ones. This is pulled from the bull market high to the bear market low. These are high time frame macro targets. First one tapped, and then the next one would have been sitting up here at 137 to 156K. Never in a million years would I ever come up here and say, guys, when we're down here, guys, Bitcoin is going to $209,000. We could say we have a target up there, right? Like if Bitcoin gets super bullish, right? Like that would be the places where we would look to stop off. But you have your level set. If I thought the top was coming in here, I would have sold my bags and said, it looks like the top is in, right? But it didn't. It looked like we were going to put in a low here and put in a new high, and we see that play out. So, you have the levels on your chart, but that does not mean Bitcoin is going to 137, 156. It doesn't mean that you have to go to 191 to 209. So what happens, right? We get up to the first target. You see the pullback, right? We identify that we could still make a new high. We do. And then as we start approaching, right, as we start pushing up closer towards this level, we start to identify some things. We start to see some very high time frame bearish divergences, right? We start to see higher highs on the weekly with lower highs on the momentum waves. Historically, a very bearish signal for the end of the bull market. Doesn't always happen, but very typically a weekly bearish divergence is going to be very bearish, obviously, especially with money flow coming out. So when we start to see that, we say, let's get some more local levels in case we front run that macro 137K top. So we pull from the previous high to the previous high or low, and you get these local Fibonacci extensions. And honestly, that zone on the local extension pretty much goes up to the 130, between about 130 and $124,000. We come up there, we get the bear divs, continued bear divs, we get the drop down. Once we lose $108,000, it looks like the top is in. We look for the drop to 94 to 91K. We get it, retracement, lower low. right? With money flow coming out. So that's kind of how you have to call it. Like, I would never just be like, oh, we have a Fibonacci target up there and Bitcoin should be bullish because of a bullish pro-crypto president. We have to go up to 209K. That is the target, right? Like and subscribe. That's not how the market moves, right? So you find your high probability targets. You identify what you're seeing inside there. Doesn't look like the top's in here based off the analysis. We look for higher low, higher high. Nailed it. Come into your next level of resistance. Are we going to front run the highs? We know this is resistance. And up here, we're not saying guaranteed the top is in. We shorted at 126K, but I'm not fully confident that's the high because there was still opportunity to hold clean higher lows to continue up. Once we lost 108K, that's where it started to look very bearish, and we say, looks like 123K, 126K could have been the top, right? So you want to set your traps, wait for price to come into them, analyze price, and figure out the outcome, right? Not just find random targets and call for them. So you want to be careful. So that's explaining why, like, for me personally, to call for, how high we can go in the next bull market, I could pull up these Fibonacci targets, right? Just like back here, right? But I need the bottom. I need to know the bottom is in to pull that fib, right? Because if I pull this, just to explain this for anyone looking to learn, right? Like, why can't I say that, right? Well, I don't know if this is the bottom, right? And if I don't think this is the bottom, pull from the low to the high. If this is the bottom, right? Which again, I don't personally think that's the case necessarily just yet. Well, then you could look at your Fibonacci targets, right? But that wouldn't guarantee, right, that would happen, right? I would probably say the first extension target's very likely, but never guaranteed, right? But what happens if Bitcoin goes down to 59K? Well, now that target has moved, right? Now the target is 157 to 172 instead of 148 to 159. Well, what if Bitcoin goes down to 30K? Right? Well, if it goes down to 30K, now those extensions move way further. So that's literally why I can't really call a legitimate target just too soon, right? So when I say there's no information, it's not just that I don't want to answer the question. It's just that I literally can't, right? But if the chart's my boss, right? So there you go. Hopefully that helps you out. But if you wanted to try to anticipate this to be the low, you can kind of look at those extension targets. Shout out to Satoshi Glagamoto, said, I'm not going to lie. Don't judge me, Frankie. I'm about to jump into a revenge trade. Shout out to Satoshi. Oh, man. Is it a long or a short, bro? Shout out to Satoshi Glagamoto. I'll never judge you, brother. I'll never judge you. Like I said, even someone that's like, I'm just going to gamble here. Hey, more power to you. Bro, I like to gamble too sometimes. As long as you know the difference, right? Shout out to Satoshi. Is it a long or a short? Let me know. 2-hour SFP incoming? I hope so. That would be very nice. Are we going to get the green dot? 45-minute green dot printing. 3-minute money flow trying to come up. All right. Let's see here. We'll pull up our local levels again. Whoops. Pull up those local levels. Not those local levels. These local levels. So the key levels above, guys. I'll just pull the local levels here in case we do get some kind of a big pump. Full fib from the high to the low. Confluence there. Value area low. Golden pocket, 76 to 77K, or 76.7 to 77K. No daily MPOC there as of right now. This is the developing naked point of control. This will change as the candle develops, but that would be, if that does confirm there, that would be confluent with the 786, but it's not there, so we're not going to mark that out. No weekly MPOC. So yeah, let me just change this fib back to the normal fib. So let me take a look at this from a 30-minute perspective. Hide the local range. So yeah, I would say right now, 80,500. Let me see if this is confluent. So big resistances. Right now, I can't guarantee you that we're going to get that big move up. But if we did, this would be Golden Pocket daily MPOC also confluent with the key support resistance flip at 80,500, right? Flipping this bigger range low into support. So this is a confluent level of resistance, and then even up here to about 82,781 to 82K, right? You could even look at this as a little bit of a zone. But you have a little more confluence here with the daily naked point of control. No daily levels, no weekly levels, no weekly MPOCs. Try to pull some anchored VWAPs here. Why is it always the first one that I click? So yeah, pulling from the last major lower high here. You do have an anchored VWAP in there as well. So this would be a major, again, you still have a little bit of work to do to get up there, but this would be sitting between about $80,000 and $81,000. This is a pretty interesting level of resistance. And then, again, if we get above that, I would say, honestly, if we can start getting above 82K, pull up the macro range here. Of course, higher time frame. If we're going to continue these aggressive lower highs, lower lows, aggressive lower highs, lower lows, this would be a big zone to look at. But if we do end up getting like a bigger short squeeze to come in, I would still say, just like yesterday on the live stream, let me actually pull this to this high. I'll probably watch this because this is going to move down. That'll probably be confluent. And that is the high of the overall high of that kind of lower high. Let me pull my fib. Nobody look, I'm pulling my fib. Nobody watch me pull my fib. It's a private thing. Yeah, and then I would still say 85, right? Value area low, golden pocket confluence. No daily MPOC in there, which is interesting. Let me just double check that real quick. Yeah, really 88K is your next daily MPOCs. So yeah, I mean this would be local. And of course, this also kind of gives you the confluence above your value area. Right? You could deviate above your value area. Right? Short. Not telling you too short there, but I'm just saying, obviously you would not be looking to long into resistance unless you got a flip of support of about 80,500. But if you got the bearish confirmations there, right, you would have a nice clear viewpoint of coming back down into your value area, getting accepted below the POC, getting the bigger move down towards the low. So yeah, I mean, this would just simply be the first level, and then above that, I would say just higher time frame. If you get the big retracement, 85.5 to about $86,000 value, and this would just overall be just to kind of clean it up, right? This would essentially just be a range retest before a lower high. And of course, where's it come in at? Golden pocket retracement, right? So we'll see. Why does price have to stall right now? Do something. And we'll watch that 30-minute money flow. Yo, shout out to Jar says, aren't you done pulling your fib yet? Can I open my eyes? Yeah, shout out to Jar. We're done. I'm done. I did it. You can now look. Shout out to Theo Rodriguez. Said, don't forget to push that like button. Don't forget to smash it up, guys. We're going for 150,000 likes on today's stream. Satoshi said, I've literally done step up 10,000 in cash. For all I know, that'll be worth less tomorrow. Shout out to Satoshi. Are you saying you're risking 10,000 on the trade that you just jumped into? Is that what you're saying? I don't know exactly what you're saying. Did he tell us if he was in the long or the short? Literally bought more BTC and sending it to the exchange. Now revenge will be mine. Shout out to Satoshi. Well, listen, bro. I want to be clear here, right? Do I think, 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 do that, like, this is, again, like when people ask me, like, oh, I just bought a bunch of Bitcoin. I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, well, I don't know why I would buy it up here. But, if you are buying spot Bitcoin down here, like, I couldn't really say, like, oh, wow, you're a crazy person. You're never going to snipe the bottom, right? Like, at the end of the day, I mean, and also, right, like, who knows? Maybe it's the bottom, right? Like, again, TA isn't saying it's definitely the bottom for all-time highs, but I mean, for me personally, I like the dollar cost average, right? Whether it's daily dollar cost average, monthly dollar cost average. So if you wanted to kind of start to take the bait a little bit, right? Even, and then if it gets the move up, great, you're exposed. But then even if you're expecting lower prices, it's like, well, hey, like a $74,000, like if I think, and also what's your time horizon, right? Are you looking over the next 10 years, the next 20 years? Are you just trying to hit it big right now? Like what is your thought process there? But if you have a long-term view, if you think Bitcoin's going to be worth more than $74,000 in the next 10 years, there you go, right? It's under $200,000. And then even if you're expecting more downside, you're fine, right? New low, take the bait a little more, right? Yeah, continue down, take the bait a little bit more. And you're getting like an average entry price, just lowering and lowering your average cost. The lower it goes, the more you can buy. And I like to do weighted dollar cost averages sometimes where, you put in a low amount of your capital, right? Like, small percentage. Right? Then you go lower, maybe you little higher percentage, right? Go lower, maybe a higher percentage, right? And then that helps you get that average entry price lower down more aggressively, right? And then at the end of the day, you're never going to snipe the tick bottom, right? Like I literally started dollar cost averaging here after this big capitulation. I did not buy this bottom. I did not wait for the bottom and then buy, right? I bought. And guess what happened right after I made my first buy? Price went up. Yay! And then guess what happened right after that? Price dumped. Right? And then price dumped again and made a new low. Was I panicking? No. I was buying here. I was buying here. I was buying here. I was buying here. Just average entry to give me, right? Whoops. Buy a little bit, 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 buy a little bit. Stop. Average entry price somewhere in here, right? Not going to snipe the bottom, but of course, you're on the right side of it to enjoy the bull market, right? You look at it in hindsight, beautiful trade. So yeah, I would never tell someone, price is dumped, right? I always recommend not like dumping in your whole bag, right? Not financial advice. You always can do that, of course. But, a little bit less risky to obviously give yourself a little bit of risk management there with the dollar cost average strategy. Oh, shout out to Satoshi Glakamoto. $1,000 from my bank transferred to leverage trade and $10,000 cash on me. Profits I took already. I lost $4K profit in a trade this afternoon. $1,000 just for leverage. Shout out to Satoshi. Gotcha, bro. Yo, shout out to Kevin's Awake. Said Michael Saylor from MicroStrategy needs to learn that DCA dip sniping the. He's sniping the drops, yeah. I mean, he said many a times that he doesn't care buying that. He'll buy the top every time. He doesn't care because he's just got such a long-term view on it, I guess. Still haven't lost money, just technically didn't pay myself. Okay, so you lost profit, maybe. Shout out to Satoshi. Yeah, you good then, Satoshi. Shout out to Silvio. When stocks TA? Shout out to Yoda. I can take a look at a stock for you, bro, if you have one. Shout out to I5B said I traded yesterday the lower low but got stopped out today at break even. I felt bad, Frankie. Shout out to I5B. Feel the feeling and don't do anything. Don't revenge trade, please, for the love of God. And to be honest, guys, like me saying don't revenge trade is not going to stop really probably anybody from revenge trading. I'm not going to be able to stop the emotion because I feel them too, right? Like sometimes I want to revenge trade. But I would say I'm just able to, like, I feel the emotions, right? I think it's an unrealistic goal to try to get the emotions out of your head. We're emotional creatures, but I think it's a better goal to just expect the feelings and not act on them. It's very difficult. Netflix, I can try to take a look at Netflix, no problem. Waiting for a 50% retrace on the move up on the 15-minute. Personally going long. Shout out to Bill Brower. Dip buying strategy, DCA on steroids. Yeah, pretty much. Kind of like a weighted DCA strategy. Let's see. It's not the bottom in my opinion. Yeah, shout out to Owen. Yeah, again, like depending on how you define the bottom, right? Like here, is this the bottom? Like maybe for like a retrace, right? That's what I would say. So like, could this be a bottom? I would say yes. Is it the bottom for all-time highs, bottom of the bear market? I would say probably not. Could we be getting close to this thing potentially ending, right? Maybe we go down. Could we be getting close to like a bottom of the bear market? I think maybe. Plausible. But again, we got to see, like, again, when in doubt, zoom out, right? Like throughout all of these bounces, all this chop, right? The high time frame money flow will always just kind of keep you on the right side of the trend, right? It's not going to have you being like, oh my God, all-time highs. You're just going to be like, this is very clearly a lackluster retracement for a lower high and a lower low. And I know I say this like so much, people are probably like sick of hearing the term lackluster retracement, lower high, lower low, but there's a reason why I say it like that. There's a reason why I repeat it so much, because it is the higher probability scenario. And yeah, you're always going to have people that say like, and anytime someone says like, this is the bottom, I am always interested in hearing why. Not so I can try to prove my point, right? But maybe they know something I don't know, right? If they see something, if they're looking at something I'm not looking at that I would consider valid information, I'm going to be like, oh dang, it's actually happened, right? Where I might not be looking at something not in the context of like looking for a high or a low, but someone would be like, hey, do you ever pay attention to this? And I'm like, not really. And then I'm like, oh, like this is actually interesting. I'm going to take a look at this, right? You have to have no ego. So always just zoom out, right? Like, again, this money flow was giving us the warning at 108K, right? Like, oh, my God, probably not looking good, right? Oh, my God, probably still not looking good, right? So, like, it's very hard when you're sitting on, like, a 1-minute time frame, 3-minute time frame, and you're seeing, oh, my God, this is bullish, right? You have to understand you're on the 3-minute time frame. That 3-minute blip will not even be – you couldn't even find that 3-minute blip on the weekly time frame. This is just all bearish, very big signs of weakness, right? All right, so let's see here. I would still say flipping 80,500 would be the biggest, like a really nice sign of strength to see a bigger continuation up. 2 hour, did we get that? All right, so confirmed SFP here on the 2 hour, at least from your candlestick perspective. Still got a little bit for your green dot there. So let me pull up that low one more time. Is that 4-hour VWAP coming up? All right. I don't hate that. 2-hour SFP confirmed, literally just a few minutes ago. Should we do it? Hang on, let me check my phone, guys. I'm getting a text message. Sorry, it's a long text message, guys. Sorry, guys. It's really important. Is that engagement bait? I'm just kidding. I'm getting a call from the market maker. Sorry, guys. He's buying on his phone. No, I was answering a really long text message. Is Golden dropping the fire saw? Shout out to Fiat Level. I don't know. Golden is probably on his private jet somewhere. Key us in, brother. What's the stop loss you're setting there? Well, let's see. If you, I mean, if you're looking at an SFP, if this is your question, candle confirms. your stop loss would simply be below the wick, right? At least for me, that's how I trade the SFPs, right? If you break that wick, probably continuing lower. And also, another, different ways you could do that, right? And again, this is not financial advice. I'm not telling you to do this. But like just in general, when you have an SFP, your stop loss would just simply go below that wick, right? Now, on the other, it doesn't have to go below the wick, right? If you wanted to have a little bit of a tighter stop loss and have a little bit more of a, a tighter, if you wanted to have a little bit of a tighter stop loss, bigger position size potentially, the $74,382 low could be a very key level to hold, right? Flip it, right? And then if you lose this, right, because like the whole idea there is that you have failed to trade below this level. You have now flipped it, right, on a lower time frame. It's like failure to trade, reclaim. Like you kind of want to stay above this level, right? So really depends. Where you set your stop loss is pretty subjective. Or not, no, I wouldn't say it's subjective, but depending on, there's different ways you can do it, right? At the end of the day, I would say the invalidation of the SFP is down here, not financial advice. But I would also say that, if you have this stop loss, you would have to take a smaller position size, right? If you have a stop loss here, you could have a bigger position size because your stop loss is much closer. But that comes at the trade-off of if price decides to kind of play around here, right, and then reclaim, right, but you stay above the low, right, you're probably going to get stopped out. So it really depends. Like the bigger your stop loss, the lower you should be, the lower position size you can have if you're using good risk management, right? Because the idea would be that you want to risk a set percentage of your account, right? So if you're risking, say, 1%, if you have a tight stop loss, right, you could have a higher position size while still only risking 1% of your account. If you have a bigger stop loss, price is going to put you into bigger drawdown, right? But yes, guys, you're catching my drift. But I'm not a financial advisor. It's very difficult, guys. Like I don't run a signals group in my Discord. This is never meant for you guys to copy my trades. Like I do what I do. I'm prepared to take the losses that I take. I just don't want people just thinking that they can copy trade, right? I'm prepared to get stopped out on this. I am managing the risk, right? But I know that there's a lot of people, if I just say, oh my God, I'm going to long it right now, they're going to just enter. They might not know how to manage the risk. They're going to get wrecked, and then they're going to think that it's my fault when it really isn't, right? So I kind of have to be really careful about that. But yeah, really long text message. Sorry about that. I'm risking 100% degen mode on. And again, that's okay. You can risk 100%. That's totally fine, right? But, we'll just kind of, so like the SFP, if you're trading the 2 hour, right, you wait for the candle confirmation. Very simple strategy there, right? And then your local, right, and then again, right, like another thing you could be looking at on this to potentially support your thought process is, sure, you got the SFP, major low, major swing low, right? Major swing low. Just SFP'd on the 2 hour, right? Also, you have a potential 2 hour green dot looking to print, potential 3 and 4 hour bull divs, which are not printing yet, right? Now, what we would say here is if this 4 hour bull div decides to print, then that would let us know that, hey, this might be a nice continued bounce, right? If we wind up coming up here, we kind of chop around a little bit, right? Maybe come back down. Right, and then once that 4 hour bull div ends up printing or confirming, that could make you say, well, hey, 4 hour bull div, maybe we get the continuation up. Right, so we kind of just add to the 2 hour. It's like 2 hour SFP, might be able to get a bounce. You can see we've already gotten that a little bit. But then that 4 hour would be following suit with a 4 hour bullish divergence. That would be nice. And then again, if we get that 3 minute money flow crossover into the green, which looks like it is attempting to head up here. Oh, 45-minute green dot is confirmed now. So that's not as confluent. We could have maybe an 80-minute, 5-minute. Let's check. Yeah, so I still got some time here for this 80-minute, this 5-minute money flow to come up. But, the market cipher B1/16 there would be crossover, money flow crossover on the 5-minute at the same time as your 80-minute green dot printing. That would be nice to see for a local 5-minute trend continuation to the upside. So there you go. Shout out to Owen Johnson, said, great way to say I went on the phone to enter. I would have just done it on my screen over here, but I don't think I'm logged in on Femix. Yeah, Redundant layers of hedged scaling. I can't get nuked. I hedge in both directions at market structure. Yeah, shout out to New Earth Guardian. Not a bad strategy there. All right, 2 hour SFP. Right, and the good thing about the SFPs, guys, is that, not necessarily does this SFP have to give you what you would think a traditional SFP would, like the good ones, give you like a very fast, big move to the upside. And maybe, if you watch my SFP tutorial, you'll understand kind of the theory behind why these work. But very often, they are very often going to give you at least an opportunity to get into profit to some degree, right? They have a very high hit rate, whether they give you a little pop and a dump or they play out in a really great way where they give you a massive move up. So we'll see. But I will also say, if we go ahead and pull up our local resistances, right, at this point, if this does hold, if this low holds, right? Essentially, if you lose this, like 2 invalidations for this, right? Like aggressive invalidation below 74.3, less aggressive invalidation below the low. Based off the SFP, the invalidation would be here. If you're just taking this off a local reclaim, technically your invalidation could be there. Not financial advice. But if this does continue up, right? Like where would be some key levels that I would look at? Well, very simply, here's your upper local value. Maybe you get attracted to value. If we stay above this level, price is probably going to gravitate towards this upper value. Let me pull an anchored VWAP here from the top again, right on the value area low. Let's pull a golden pocket. All right, well, look at that. Pretty nice confluence there. So even saying if you go for a local golden pocket retracement, that might be the first target, right? And then once you get inside the volume profile, you can look to potentially target the value area high to the POC, or POC to the value area high. So we'll see. Shout out to OCB. Hey, bro, thank you for the super chat. Says, is Ton going for a reversal? Well, shout out to OCB. I would say, obviously, it's going to be tied to Bitcoin, right? Like, I wouldn't necessarily say, it's probably not going to be anything that I'm going to look at on Ton that's going to make me have any kind of a different bias as I have on Bitcoin. So, shout out to OCB. I think what a lot of people want to hear is like their altcoin will pump, right? But this is essentially going to be probably the same thing that I'd be looking at on Bitcoin, unless it looks completely different. But again, weekly money flow in the red. You do have a daily green dot with your 90-minute money flow looking to cross over, right? So what I would look for here is you definitely have, let me pull a volume profile real quick. Kind of a wonked out div here. I mean, a wonked out profile. Let me just see something. Just pull it like this. So this, let me just pull it like that. This is probably, I'll give you some local levels here. Friendly reminder, please do not super chat your altcoins. It does not guarantee that we will look at it. But just because we have a little bit of time here, go ahead and pull it up. This would pretty much be the lower time frame volume profile I'd look at, right? Pretty clean profile. High, low, bull divs at the lows. I don't know if I'm covering this for you, but bull divs at the lows. You have to believe me. Flip the value area low. POC next, flip the POC, value area high. Once you hold that POC as support, you get a little bit of a breakout, deviation above, come back in. Once you break back into the value area, POC is the next likely place for price to go. Can't break above the POC, you're looking for the value area low. You bounce around, you lose the value area low. So your kind of hope here is, I'll just say it, you don't have a 4-hour green dot looking to print. But you do have your 90-minute money flow, right? So if this 90-minute money flow crosses over and you're able to flip this value area low, this is where I would look for a potential move up into the POC, flip the POC, push into the value area high, right? If you're looking for the rotation of the profile. But that is kind of Reliant, and again, it's not guaranteed that this can't just be a fake out into the green you dump, right? But that is what I would look for the continuation. If you could flip this value area low, get the money flow crossover into the green on the 90-minute while your daily green dot is printing, that's what I would look at for a continuation up, right? Because that 90-minute money flow crossover could indicate that the 90-minute trend could continue to the upside. This is going to be resistance until proven otherwise, of course. But once you flip it, 90-minute money flows in the green, right? Higher lows and higher highs could be in store for the 90-minute trend, right? Money flow indicates the overall trend. A little bit wonky here, but you could see 90-minute money flow crosses red right here. I don't know if this was confluent with a red dot, but your 90-minute money flow, just money flow in general, indicates the overall trend. 90-minute money flows red, you anticipate low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Overall continuation of the trend. If that money flow crosses green, especially with the daily green dot printing, no bull div here on the daily, right? So, again, this would be a 90-minute kind of viewpoint. I would say that 90-minute money flow crossover could assist you in a little higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, and then you could just use these as I would be using these as my main targets, right? POC would be the next major target within the profile. Value area high would be the next major target in the profile. And then if I were looking for retracement levels, I could pull from the high to the low. Got some confluence there on your golden pocket, value area high. So this would be a big level of resistance because if you're going to continue the overall larger, higher time frame downtrend, right, pull up like a 4-hour or 5-hour at least, right, if you're going to continue lower high, lower low, this would be a pretty interesting place to look. So this would be the range I would watch, and I would watch that 90-minute money flow. This is going to be resistance until proven otherwise, right? If you just get slammed down here, money flow does not cross over into the green on the 90-minute, right? Well, then that's not, obviously it wouldn't play out. So we'll see. You already got the 80-minute money flow trying to cross over here, so that might front run into the 90-minute. But you got to get above that value area low. So there you go. Let's see. Shout out to Slender Films. Says, what's your advice for after winning a trade? How do you stop yourself from constantly trading? Shout out to Slender Films. Very simple, right? Not easy. Very simple. I could try to give you some tips on how to, set yourself up to try to not fall into the habit of over trading. But at the end of the day, that is a psychology thing. No one can really force you to follow that rule or not. But, very simple. Don't trade, right? It's that simple. Not easy. Simple and easy are two different things. If you're over trading, stop over trading, right? But, of course, it's very hard to do that, right? It's like, trying to think of an example, right? Like, if someone has a really bad problem overspending and they're like, I can't stick to a budget, just stick to the budget, right? But I just spend money without realizing. Well, it's like, don't do that, right? Like, it's that simple. It's if you're over trading, stop over trading. When you win a trade and you're happy with that profit, that's it. And if you can't figure out where to be happy with the profit, set a maximum profit target. Set a max win and a stop win and a stop loss for the day. Right? For example, like I don't know your account size or anything, but let's just say like your max win is $1,000, your max loss is $200, whatever it is. Have a max. Don't just have a max loss for the day. Have a max win for the day. If you make $1,000 in the day, that's it. That's your max win. Doesn't matter if there's a good setup on the chart. Doesn't matter if there isn't a good setup in the chart on the chart. If you make $1,000 that day, you stand up and you walk away. But there's no real tip on how to, other than like at least having the goal, right? Oh, I made $500 today. That's my max win. I can't trade anymore. Like, oh, I wasn't able to TP at 500 and it went up and I made 650. I'm over my max win. I'm out, right? So it's really hard. It's very simple, right? Again, simple. It's as simple as it is simple to get in shape, right? I always bring this up. It's very simple to get in shape. You eat right and you consistently work out. That's it. It's not easy. It's very simple, but it's not easy, right? It's kind of the same thing, right? If you overtrade, it's very simple. Set a max win and a stop loss, and then once one of those levels is hit, one of those targets is hit, you're done for the day. Just don't trade anymore. But other than that, it's psychological work that you have to do. And I think that's really like the hardest part about trading. It's why a lot of people don't. It's why a lot of people fail, right? Because to be honest, like a lot of strategies out there, I would say like most common strategies, like especially volume profiles is like one of the higher profitable strategies. That does not mean that you're going to make money trading that strategy, right? Trading is a very, there's a lot of intangibles in trading, right? Like you could have a profitable strategy. Like I said, like auction market theory or trading failed auctions is like one of the higher like one of the most profitable ones, right? They have like one of the highest probabilities, obviously. But that does not mean that you're going to make the most money because you're using the highest profitable strategy, right? And I wouldn't say it's the highest, but it's like one of the better ones. And someone mentioned the orb strategy on a live stream like last week or something. That actually is one of the more profitable strategies too, apparently. But I've never tested it. But that does not mean that you're going to make money doing it, right? Because there's a lot of nuance, right? Like you have to understand when price is very likely to rotate through the profile because it's not always going to, right? You could look for a short at the value area high, and I mean, this is kind of it's a great example, but also a bad example because it's like I like to look at shorts at the highs, longs at the lows, right? If you're just doing that, you're going to eventually like end up being at least in profit at some point, right? But like if you're looking at for a short at the high, right, and you have money flow coming up and you don't know that, and you like there are times where when you go through a profile, I'm looking to flip the POC and break out, right? And that has a lot to do with market structure, money flow, volume. If you don't know to look for that, you might just take this short, not take any profit, and if you're not setting a stop loss and you're just risking your whole account because you want to make as much money as possible, you just want to high leverage, max target. You don't want to take partial profits because you're not going to make as much if you go to the value area low. Of course, you short the high. The first TP is always the point of control. Very high probability. Technically, I mean, you did get that here, so it's kind of a bad example. But let's just say like this is kind of like just an example of it's like you're not always going to go to the value area low, but even if you did, right, like in this example, you might take a long here, right? Maybe you see even if you see a confirmation, maybe you take a long here. But you don't want to set a stop loss, right? Maybe you're over leveraged. Maybe you shouldn't be trading for the day. Maybe you already hit your max loss. Maybe you were trying to, I don't know. But you could have a high probability setup here now. And actually, this is kind of a perfect example. Now, of course, money flow is going completely against you. This isn't a trade that I would personally take. But let's just say you're looking at the RSI divergences and you're like, oh, I'm at the value area low. I have bullish divergences. I'm going to take that long. And you get the bounce, right? And you're like, oh, yeah, look at this. We're back above the value area. We're going to the POC, right? We're going to the value area high. Oh, my God. I'm going to hold this. Let's go. And then price goes against you. You're like, no, it's going to go. You move your stop loss. Maybe you don't have a stop loss set. If you don't have the discipline to manage the risk, guess what? You're not going to make money, right? Especially if you don't understand all the confluences, the context of the market, all that stuff, right? Not to mention the market intuition that you build over experience, right? So it's like, but the trader that might see a setup here, takes it with good risk management, takes a small loss, and then finds the next setup, right? That guy is going to make money over time. And I always bring this example up when you're in a, like let's just pull up like a naked value area, right? If I am in a long position, right, and price goes, right, let's say I take the long position at the value area low, price moves to the POC, oh, I'm cooking. For me, I got to be taking a partial take profit here and moving my stop loss to break even. Now, that does mean that when I go up to the value area high, I'm going to make less profit because I already took some of the position out, right? But that comes with the trade-off of locking in guaranteed money, right? Especially when you move your stop loss to break even, right? So if I trade this volume profile, right, two traders could take the same setup and be trading the same strategy. One can make money, one can lose money. And I'll explain exactly how that works, right? This is the importance. This is the secret to trading, low key, right? Doesn't matter whether you're trading patterns, volume profiles. Again, there are higher probability strategies and lower probability strategies, but a lot of them are profitable, right? Trader one takes the trade, good risk management, takes a partial, maybe 50% off the trade here, moves his stop loss to break even, right? Trader two takes the trade, no stop loss, gets to the POC, does not take a partial take profit. He wants to be greedy, and he wants to make the maximum amount of profit for the rotation to the value area high. Trader one knows this is not, although high probability, not guaranteed. So he locks in 50%, moves his stop loss to break even for a guaranteed winning trade. Let's say this guy was up $1,000 here. He locked in $500. This trader is now going to make $500 whether this trade loses or wins. This trader wants to hold it to make maximum profit to the value area high. He doesn't care if it's guaranteed. He wants to risk it for the biscuit. Price comes back down, and this trader does not have a stop loss, right? Even if he does have a stop loss, doesn't really matter. But I guess it matters. But like let's say he doesn't have a stop loss, right? Price does not rotate to the value area high. He has taken no profit. Price comes back down and liquidates him, right? He has now lost the entire trade, lost all the money. Made nothing. Not only didn't make anything, but lost money. Let's say he did have a stop loss. This trader comes down. At least he's using risk management. He gets stopped out for a small loss. Now, he could have made $500 like trader A, but he lost whatever he was risking, right? Even if it was a controlled loss. Now, people who do this will tend to do this consistently, right? People who learn and follow the system tend to do this consistently. So this guy's P&L is consistently, and this doesn't mean that he's a bad analyst or his setup doesn't work or his strategy doesn't work. This is all the intangibles of a trader, having the emotional discipline, the psychological discipline to lock in money, right? Or just close the trade, right? Or pay yourself or set a stop loss, right? I would always prefer you set a stop loss than just have your liquidation level hit, obviously. So I can't hate on this too much, but this is kind of where this trader his P&L is going to look like this. And he's going to take losses too. He's not always going to, sometimes price is just going to fake him out and stop him out at a loss. But his P&L is going to look like this, right? Over time, right? It's going to slowly be trending up, right? Maybe he hits a big win and it gets a big pop up, of course, right? But this trader's P&L is just going to look like this. And the painful thing about this is that this trader, they're trading the same strategy. His P&L can look like this. His P&L can look like this. It's all about the decisions they make in the trade, right? They're trading the exact same confirmation. They're trading the exact same strategy, the exact same targets. This trader made money. This trader didn't. How could that be possible? It's all the decisions that he made. And I could teach the strategies. I could teach the risk management. I can give you guys ideas on where to take profit, how much to take, right? I could share these ideas with you, but I can't force you to push the button, right? Nobody can. These are the intangibles, the things that you need to do while nobody's looking. This is where people fail, not through bad strategies. Chances are if you're losing money trading, it's probably not the strategy, right? Assuming you're trading a decent strategy, right? Any of the, even if you're trading patterns, which is my least favorite strategy, one of my least favorite strategies, if you trade that correctly, you can make money, right? It's usually not the strategy. That's why I always tell people don't strategy hop, because chances are the problem is probably not the strategy. It's probably your discipline and your ability to follow the plan. That is the secret to trading, guys, right there. Everybody wants the secret indicator, the secret strategy, the secret setup. That's not the secret. What I just told you is the secret to trading. Risk management and psychological control over win rate every single time. Because again, even a high win rate strategy, if you're not paying yourself to make that trade a win, right? And a lot of people will hold it to the full take profit, right? They'll be like, oh my God, it hit my final target. I just want to hold and be greedy and want it to keep going. And then it doesn't, and they get stopped out at a loss. They took a great trade. They didn't make money. This is where most people fail. I was stuck in this forever. I was stuck here forever. I was greedy. I wanted to make the most amount possible. I didn't want to make, because when I started with a small account, my partial take profits, if I let the whole trade play out, I wasn't making that much money. So it's like the last thing I wanted to do was take partial profits and lessen my targets, right? Or lessen the profit. I was stuck there forever. Emotionally detach yourself from the money. Don't try to get rich quick. Don't try to get rich overnight. Build the skill, profitably trade it on a small account, and then once you can prove that to yourself, you can up the capital. You can invest more of your own money. You could get a funded account. But you have to build those intangibles. That is the secret to trading for free. There you go. Anyway, hopefully that helps somebody out there. Maybe we go to 86K. Yeah, big SFP on the 2 hour as well. Let's go ahead and, oh, look at that. Can't make it up, baby. Can't make it up. There you go. Almost pushed into the golden pocket. We'll do it live, baby. We'll do it live. I just trade the levels within the time frames I'm trading. I messed up, and it was for exactly the reasons you're talking about. Yeah, shout out to Satoshi Nakamoto. That's time and time again, I'll get people in the chat, right? We'll get some of the Mafia members being like, I feel attacked. I feel like he's talking directly to me. There's a reason for that, guys. I was in your exact same position. The exact same position. Like, I speak from all of this from experience. Like I said, that the good trader that was making money and the bad trader that was losing money, the reason I know that happens, the reason I know that's probably where a lot of the people in this chat are, a lot of the Mafia is probably in that kind of part of your journey. that is a part of the journey, right? It doesn't mean you're stupid. It doesn't mean that you can't make money trading. It doesn't mean that you're a slow learner. It doesn't mean any of that, right? It's a part of the journey. Anybody who gets into something like trading is gonna feel like that because of the emotions. It's uncontrollable. And I was stuck there forever. That was the biggest thing that I had to get past in my trading. And the way I got through that, right? I had to do something I didn't want to do. I sat there and I said, I'm sick of this. I'm not making money. I'm bored of the same outcome. So what I did was I say this all the time. I know it's repetitive, but it's important, right? This is the aha moment. There is no secret indicator. There is no secret strategy. There is no secret signals group. There's no secret buy and sell indicator. The secret is that it takes hard work, and oftentimes it will not happen overnight or over a month or over 3 months. So the faster that you can accept that and ask yourself the question, do I want to work hard for this? Right? You have to have grit, right? It's going to be difficult. You're going to make mistakes. They're going to feel impossible to fix, but you can get past it, I promise you. If I did, I think my biggest advantage was that I'm thick-headed. I wouldn't give up. I was going to figure it out or die. That was the only option I had. So what I did was all I said was I'm going to extend my time horizon. I don't care about the money. I care about the skill of TA, of the strategy, but more importantly, the skill of following the plan. I don't care about the money. If I don't make $1 trading for the next 2 years, I just want to follow sticking to my plan. That's how I'm going to measure my success. I don't care if I'm only going to make $5 profit at my first take profit. I'm going to take that because I don't care if I get rich overnight. I know that's unrealistic. I know that's a fake dream. Once you emotionally detach yourself from the money and tell yourself, say in the next, am I willing to do this for the next 2 years? If the answer is no, it's probably not for you, right? If you want to get rich quick, this is probably not the way to do it, right? If you want to build a skill over time that can eventually be the most lucrative thing you could possibly dream of, with no location lock, no salary cap, no customers, no inventory, sit at a desk, make money pushing buttons, but you're willing to put that work in and you understand it won't happen overnight, that is the biggest thing. You gotta break that mindset. I don't care about getting rich overnight. Not only do I not care about it, it's very unrealistic. It's an unrealistic goal, right? If I'm willing to put in the work over a long period of time, then when you're not going to care about revenge trading, right? Because you don't care about the money. You're just going to be like, oh, it's just going to be binary. I hit the take profit, I'm taking the take profit. Because I don't care if it's $5 or $2 or 50 cents or $500. I don't care about the dollar amount. I just care about following the plan, right? And then that is the skill that you need to actually make good money, right? And increase your capital, right? Or get a funded account, right? You won't even pass the funded account if you're not taking profit and you're just getting stopped out constantly, right? So you won't even get awarded the funded account unless you do an instant funded. But very important, guys. This is literally the secret. Everyone says they're looking for that click moment where they're gonna the strategy that's gonna tell them that it's 100% trade that they can just load up extra on and guaranteed make money. It doesn't exist. The aha moment, the click, the moment that trading will click for you is the moment you change that mindset. Right now, the strategies, the risk, like the actual techniques, the TA, the VWAPs, like all that stuff is very important, but it is absolutely useless without that mindset. So if I can help one person in the chat get over that hump, that will change your life. It just is going to take time. So there you go. Anyway, are we going to come up and tap this golden pocket? Come on, Bitcoin. Do it. Do it. My text message that I sent before really wants it to come up and hit that golden pocket. Yeah, shout out to Perry said funded accounts are amazing if you don't have money to put into it. And I agree, it can work. It could work with prop firms. Yeah, 100%. As long as you're following. If you don't follow, like in a funded account, right? Even an instant funded, where you just get the account, whether you're taking a challenge or getting an instant funded account, either way, you're going to have to be taking profit and managing the risk. Otherwise, you'll either lose the instant funded or you'll never pass the challenge to get awarded the account on a challenge. So that's kind of why I wish funded accounts were a thing when I was learning how to trade, because it would have forced me to stick to my rules, right? And then like the consistency rules are pretty interesting too, because it literally stops you. It doesn't allow you to have that gambling mindset. Because when you're looking at the idea of like, I want to hold for more profit, I want to hold for more profit, like you have to look at that 33% consistency rule, at least on Warbucks. you can't just gamble for that gigantic trade because it's going to mess up your consistency. So it's like, even when you're in a really good trade, you're like kind of forced to take profit on those things to remain consistently. Slow and steady wins the race. And shout out to the premium Discord. We had a bunch of people showing their payouts from Warbucks. Super dope. My goal is to move completely off grid. That's why I'm committed to learning. I took the loss, bought BTC on spot, and it's already up. I will trade again, but not today. Shout out to Satoshi Glockamoto. If you got to take a step away, bro, it's a lot of self-awareness to be able to say that. Shout out to Tyler, said, yo, brother, I needed this talk. Thank you. And guys, trust me, if I could do it, you could do it. I'm not special. I think the only thing that would make me special, I was going to make a joke. I'm not going to make a joke. The only thing that made me special was that, like, I literally am, like, stubborn. Like, the fact that, like, I just didn't give up because I'm just thick-headed. I was like, I'm going to figure this out. I don't care how much pain there is. I don't care how long this takes me, right? But if I didn't have someone to tell me this stuff. I didn't have someone that went through the whole journey and made it out on the other side, right? So, like, if I had someone there to tell me that stuff, maybe it could have helped me. But I don't think they would have. I would have been like, you're an idiot, bro. You don't know. I'm gonna figure this out way sooner. If it took you 2 years, it's not going to take me 2 years, bro. I'm special. Right, I'm special. I'm gonna do it in 5 minutes. I'm gonna get rich tonight. I'm gonna 100x long. I'm gonna put my whole account up there. I'm gonna get rich overnight. Right? That's genuinely how I thought. And now I look back and I'm like, what a ridiculous thought process. I literally said the same thing. Yeah, shout out to Owen. I've been there, brother. I've been there. All right, let's see. Let's see if we can get this 5-minute money flow. Ooh, starting to come back out. Will she tap the golden pocket? Let's go ahead and set an alert here real quick, or at least the value area low. All right, let's see. Yeah. Probably going to get another ebb or flow to the downside, right? Little 15-minute red dot at some point. Little ebber. Little flower. Money flow come up. Maybe a little trender. Yeah. The one thing I don't like for the overall continuation, I mean, this would definitely be the first major resistance. Yeah, like down here, like you get the 2-hour SFP, right? And it's already given you, I mean, I won't even go wick to wick. I'll just go from the candle closure to the wick. Already a 2.45, almost a 3%, 2.5% move. Right, so again, that gives you enough opportunity to get into profit, maybe move your stop loss if you want. But the, yeah, we'll see if we get the 4-hour bull div. The one thing I wouldn't like about this, I mean, is really that 30-minute money flow with the 8-hour red dot. All right, like you still got 3 hours for this red dot to print. That next 30-minute red dot, especially if you test this golden pocket, may be a risk of coming back down to put in a new low, right? Because we don't really have any medium time frame bull divs here. Ideally, what I like to see is if you could get the SFP, right, and a bullish divergence, and then reclaim, right? You have the bull divs at the low, indicating you have a significant reversal signal forming, and then like maybe on the 15-minute it looks like this, and then that 2-hour candle looks like this. You get the 2-hour SFP, but then the 15-minute can give you a better entry, right? If we had a 15-minute bull div down here, I probably would have looked to enter on the 15-minute bull div to get a much better lower time frame entry. But you don't have that, right? There's like really no significant lower time frame entry triggers. So what are you stuck with? You know, you're stuck with having to send, you know, that really important text messages coincidentally right when the 2-hour candle closes, right? Not as good of an entry on that text message, but, you know, there's no other option, right? There's, you have no entry, no low time frame entry trigger, right? And then on top of that, right, if you're not going to get those low time frame entry triggers, you're hoping for maybe a 4-hour bullish divergence. Like there's no guarantee that you have to have the 15-minute bull divs. I prefer it, right, or the 30-minute bull divs even. I prefer it, right? Like even like broadly here, you don't have it. You got lower lows, no bull div. And you have the money flow and the 8-hour red dot. It's like it's not perfect. But But that's kind of like the two ways that you can enter an SFP. I talk about this in the tutorial video. You guys can check it out if you want. I messed up not setting a stop. The price moved against me so aggressively. I should have said F it and closed the trade, but I thought it would turn around. I was wrong. I should have set a trailing. Yeah, shout out to Satoshi. Bro, like the fact that you can try to identify those mistakes is huge as well. Like just identifying those mistakes is a lot of people won't do that, right? A lot of people just think, the indicator didn't work, the strategy didn't work, right? Yeah, shout out to Drum and Bass. Says, nailed the short and the long. Partial profits taken. Good day today. Shout out to Drum and Bass. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Shout out to Jesse, said, like number 331 is by me, or is me, by the way. Shout out to Jesse. What is going on, brother? Welcome in. Go ahead and smash that like button, guys. Let's go for 550 likes on today's live stream. I think we can do it. Yeah, Frankie reassuring like ChatGPT. Yeah, well, I know Satoshi Nakamoto's been working hard. And that is true, right? Like most people will literally, most people don't want to take self-accountability, right? Like, even, like, when it comes to the gym. I think it's natural, right? I try to do it too, but I think I just have a lot of self-awareness, so I'm like, you're kind of just blaming other people for your problem, bro. And I have those thoughts in my head. But, like, you know, oh, man, like, I was going to the gym, but then this happened, and I started a new job, which, you know, could all be valid, but they're really, at the end of the day, just excuses, right? But then, you know, this happened. I was really tired, and it's like, it's very similar with trading. Shout out to Ozgun, said, Frankie, show us some short entries. I want to join the I want to join this bear short long term. Shout out to Ozgun. I mean, we do have the local levels that we're watching right now, which of course is Golden Pocket, Anchored VWAP, Value Area Low. But again, look at your money flow here. 5-minute money flow. Yeah, man, this money flow is kind of reversing a little bit. See, 7-minute. That would have been nice on the 2-hour green dot. Or it's still possible. Still possible there. But, I mean, this would be the first local level of resistance, right? Now, I wouldn't necessarily say that is the biggest level of resistance, but, like, these would be the local levels. Golden Pocket, Value Area Low, Anchored VWAP Confluence, 76.7 up to about 77.1. Once we get back in here, you know, you could probably look for a PLC value area high rotation. I would say like medium time frame. This is kind of just local, lower time frame. Go ahead and throw this in our folder here. I would say higher time frame. Really looking at still got to move this fib real quick. Make sure that's set correctly. Yeah, really like 84 to 86K. That is the next. And actually, get that off. Pull it from the high. This is the fib that we're looking at. Just check this one. I mean, it would be the two major fibs, right? Really like significant lower high, and then the next significant high. So you have this one. And whoops. So these are the two fibs I would look at. $84 to $86K. Just pull that on here. Yeah. I would say this is still pretty much the same levels we were looking at yesterday, just the fib has moved. But I would have most interest probably in 86K, about 86.2. But really the zone would be sitting here, right? Because, again, if you're going to continue high, low, lower high, lower low, lower high, this is the zone. Technically, 84.138 to 87.201. You got the Golden Pocket Anchored VWAP Confluence. And you could even look at them as two separate levels if you wanted to take some tight stops. Two separate little scalp entries. That would be, and then you got the bigger golden pocket backing you up there as well. So this is kind of what I would look at first. And at the end of the day, if you do get a bigger retracement, which, again, isn't guaranteed, you got to be careful around the $80,500 low. Flip that to support. I think you get the bigger squeeze. Golden pocket, 786. This could just be a bearish back test of the range. Once you break back into it, I would be looking back up towards this range. So I would say your biggest levels of resistance are really sitting between 84 to about 87K. Confluence. And again, I'm not telling you to short here. I'm just telling you these are the places where we'll be looking for the shorts on in the premium Discord, right? But again, if we don't get the confirmations, we're not going to take the shorts, right? We'll expect a bigger move to the upside. And again, if we have a lot of people shorting, you got to have a lot of stop losses up here, a lot of liquidity above about $79,000. I think we actually saw that here on the heat maps. Yeah, a lot of liquidity above 79K. That could cause a little bit of a short squeeze. A lot of liquidity above 85.4 could cause a little bit of a short squeeze. So, this could get squeezy very quickly if you get the push up, right? Those would be the places to look, though, just like they were here and here. But there we go. Bitcoin hitting the golden pocket, baby. There she blows. Value area low tapped. Value area low tapped. Golden pocket not tapped. Sorry. That was the alert set on the value area low. There it is. Anchored VWAP about to get tapped as well. So there we go. Let me check my text message real quick. I'm just kidding. I should probably just log into Femex. But that's annoying. Maybe I'll log in a second. All right, so there we go. Now we'll see if we can get the golden pocket tapped. I'll actually just hide this so I can get the right click there. Bada boom. Bada bing. There we go. Whoops. See if we, all right, anchor VWAP getting tapped now. Now remember, guys, this value area low is confluent with the golden pocket, right? So this is resistance until proven otherwise. Resistance until proven otherwise. Right? Now, if we can get above that golden pocket, that's where we can start to look to cook up towards the POC. Again, none of this is, financial advice. I'm not giving setups here, guys. We do that in the premium Discord. I'm just kind of talking about, what we're expecting price to do. Never financial advice. But this is resistance, right? We got to flip this in order to look for the bigger pull up. As we push into resistance and we look at this, there we go. 3-minute money flow finally crossing into the green. 5-minute money flow trying to cook back up. There we go. Not too shabby. But again, when we look at this 10-minute looking for a red dot, when we look at that 12-minute looking for a red dot, that 15-minute looking for a red dot, even the 24-minute looking for a red dot, we're at resistance. If those red dots come in, maybe a little bit of a pullback. Right? We'll see. We'll see if we can just fly through it or if we're going to get the pullback. But there we go. Looking for the golden pocket retracement. There it is. There's your value area. Fake out. Price seeks out fair value. There it is. Volume profiles will change your life. All right. Let's see here. Can you pull up the... Shout out to Bill Brower said, "What do you provide in the premium Discord?" Satoshi Glakamoto said premium content. Shout out to Satoshi. But yeah, I give my spoon-fed trade setups. We do 2 live streams a week. Spoon-fed trade setups, daily TA. Obviously, sometimes we share the setups in the beginning of the week and we have to wait for them. But yeah, I'll pull up. If you want to check out the premium, guys, and you want to do kind of like a free trial type thing, you could go to the free Discord and go to the dining room, and you will see. I'll just take the. This is kind of the freemium section. It's kind of like a free trial. You get 1 post from the premium per week, right? Obviously, I'm in the premium every weekday, but and sometimes on the weekends as well if something crazy is going on. But you'll get 1 premium post per week. and you'll understand kind of what we do, right? You'll give and it's not a signals group. I will not tell you when to buy or when to sell. I'll just give this setup for example, right? This was the short from between 92.5 and 91.42. This is one that we took, one of the ones that I'm holding. Looking for price to get a move up, right? About 4 price gets up there. We look for where price is going to go. What am I anticipating? We don't always get it perfect, right? We made one more low here and then got the retracement. We get our confirmations. We look for the short, and then we look for the rotation back down to the value area low. This one wound up absolutely slapping. Obviously, we don't win every single trade, but it's not a signals group. It's very educational. I talk you through what I want to see price do, why I wanted to see it do that, and then what confirmations I'm looking for to take the trade if we push into the level. If we did not push into that level, we would not just take a short on a FOMO, right? So spoon-fed trade setups, we get 2 live streams a week. It's more of like a mentorship. Obviously, you get the setups, you get the daily TA, but I really try to educate and build you into your own self-sufficient trader. I mean, I teach you how to fish by kind of like giving you my rod and holding it for you, and then eventually I kind of let you fish by yourself, which obviously you always be able to have the setups. But if you want to come in here, this is the dining room in the free Discord. You can come to unlock access. If you're using one of our exchanges or exchange affiliates, you can just come in here and drop your username. Just read through the directions on how to get in, click on whatever exchange you're using, and you'll get free access to that stuff. You get a couple of other channels in there as well. And that's totally free. If you want to just buy it, of course, again, not a signals group. You can check the link in the description down below or go to frankiecandlestrading.com. But anyway, let's see. Shout out to Osgun said, you're right. It is premium content. Don't mind him. Everyone just buying and selling when Frankie tells that he took a position. Yeah, it's never a signals group, guys. Not a signals group. I can't tell you when to buy and sell. Let's see. Shout out to Osgun said, I'm recording. Yo, you know what? Chemistry Bro used to do this for us. Shout out to Osgun said, I'm recording Frankie's stats. He has like an 85% hit rate. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Yeah, shout out to Perry said, the best Discord group in the world. No buy and sells, but mentorship 100%. Yeah, shout out to Perry. I mean, buy and sell signals don't work, right? If buy and sell signals worked, I would have never gotten to where I was, right? Because I would have just found a buy and sell signal or whatever, whether it was an indicator or a Discord, whatever it was, just code a bot for it, right? I always try to like let people know, right? Like I will never sell you a fake dream. I will help you make money. I will help you change your life. Hopefully, if you can stick to your plan and delete your emotions, obviously can't guarantee that, but it is. I will never promise you something I cannot deliver on. But shout out to the premium. Shout out to Jesse said 610 people getting wrecked because they didn't like the stream. If you like the stream, guys, it does increase the chances of your trades playing out. I will say that. Just statistically speaking, that's how it works. But anyway, we'll dump it to 0, then we'll go to 200K. Shout out to 9999999. Let's go, baby. Let me see if I can pull up the text message here real quick. Just going to pull up my face cam here in case, like, my social security pops up for some reason. I get, like, super paranoid about that sometimes. Not that my social security number ever pops up anywhere, but I do always like to be. Ever since the Holy Stream, shout out to anybody who was in the Holy Stream. Does anybody know what I'm talking about there? Hang on one sec. Ever since the Holy Stream, put a 0 in the chat or a candle in the chat, either one, if you were here for the Holy Stream and you know what I'm talking about. And if you weren't here, consider yourself lucky. Consider yourself lucky. They scammed your boy Candles. Terrible, terrible, terrible day. Terrible day for the Mafia. Or terrible day for Frankie Candles. Probably a hilarious day for the Mafia. I think most people just thought it was funny. But here we go. All right. No social security number. We are clean. I think. All right. We're clean. We're clean. All right. We back. Oh, wait. Hang on. We're not back. What's going on here? Now we're back. All right. So here's the text message, guys. Oh God, yeah. All right, we got some we got some people in here. 00000. Shout out to Jesse. Jesse, were you here? Darren Does Things was here. Man, yeah, bad stream. For anyone who doesn't know, I pulled up a video in the that somebody put in the Discord asking me to review their trade. Super naive of me. This was early on. It was about 5 minutes of gold TA and about 0.7 seconds of whole TA, if you catch my drift. BTC bottom price we may see. Shout out to Alyssa, I think is what that says. I don't know exactly what you mean by that. You talk about like, yeah, Jesse was there. Shout out to Jesse. The golden ages or the brown ages, whatever. Anyway, does the premium include the Frankie OF? It includes the only calves. You get exclusive live footage of the Frankie Candles calf. What about Ethereum? Is it again going to come down to 1,500 in the next week? Shout out to Comedy. Shout out to Comedy. Take a look at Ethereum. Let's jump in here real quick. Yeah, a little 4-hour bull dip print in there. Kinda. It is there. It is there. Now, remember, guys, we are in a very bearish environment, right? I mean, when you see the fake out, when you see a potential bullish divergence, a green dot printing, 15-minute money flow attempting to come up. At this point for the continuation up, you're probably going to at some point get some kind of a pullback here. But in order to see the continuation up, I'd say the 15-minute red dot's likely where you'll see the pullback. And then on that pullback, you're hoping that your money flow can continue crossing into the green. As long as that 4-hour green dot can... Oh, and it's gone. And it's gone. But yeah, this 4-hour green dot is flashing. So you want to see that 4-hour green dot print with the 15-minute money flow crossover into the green. That's what I would be looking for. So if you get a little pullback here, I'm not saying that's the level you would look at, but you would look for some kind of a pullback and then see if that 15-minute green dot can roll back up with money flow crossing over. Again, I'm not going to give the setup here. It's more, I mean, I'll give the TA of where I'm looking for the bounces. But will we go back down to 1,500 soon? I mean, here's the thing, right? Like the next week, I mean, there's no way nobody can just say like in the next week, right? That's, you got to be really careful with the timing stuff. Like, guys, next week we will be down here. Now, you could say maybe it's a high probability, but it's really hard for me to say like, yes, next week we'll be at $1,500, right? Like, there's no way for me to know that. But what I can try to do is I can try to give you some high probability scenarios. So I would say personally for me, let me actually pull up this chart. This is the chart that I shared with the premium Discord. Oh, you also get the shared chart so you can import my charts into your trading view. But yeah, even the low on Ethereum, very likely to get tapped. All right, still front ran the value area low technically. So, but looking at this from a high time frame perspective, you know, 1,500. I mean, is it possible? Yes. Do you have key levels down there? I can try to see if we have. I might have to draw some levels. Local spider lines, 2018 spider lines. Yeah. So, I mean, it depends. I think it personally depends on the situation we see on Bitcoin. If we see Bitcoin go down for the 78, 79%, 77% correction like we've seen in previous bear markets, I think 1,500 is more likely. But I will give you like key support levels to look at before 1,500. 1,500 is pretty close to your POC. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't really see any. Let me pull it, see if we have any like monthly MPOCs down there or anything. I think I have the monthly MPOCs marked. Yeah. I just updated this chart. So yeah, I would say you don't really have much at $1,500, right? It's more at about, yeah, I guess you do. Weekly MPOC, point of control of the range. It's not necessarily 1,500. It's more like 1,600. So what I'm doing here is trying to pull up the high time frame confluences, right? Okay, so you do have a $1,700 monthly. So what I'm looking for here is confluence, guys. So I would say, listen, just from a volume profile perspective, let's just hide this tapped weekly. Hide this ran through monthly, right? So what are the levels underneath us, right? Well, of course, you have the value area low sitting at $2,092. You have the value area high sitting at about $2,000, right? So support right on top of support. But this is kind of the danger zone, right? Because, like, sure, you could deviate, hopefully get accepted back in here for a bigger push up, right? Maybe before a bigger drop down if you get a major retracement. But, like, this is the biggest level of support, in my opinion, is going to be about $2,000 even. Once you start losing this and cannot get back above, very high probability of getting a rotation back down to the POC of the range. Now, when we look at our daily money flow, this daily money flow is crossing red, right? So this would indicate to me that any bounces would be more likely lackluster bounces to the upside for lower highs and lower lows to come, right? Whether that lower low is into the value area high, or, right, previous value area high, and then you get the breakdown. All I can really say here is trend continuation based off the daily, unless this fakes back out into the green. It's probably going to be more likely lower highs and lower lows. Weekly, money flow is in the red. This also indicates that even on big retracements, you could still be looking for lower highs and lower lows. And I can already tell you, if you get a big retracement, this range retest is probably the place to look. You have your golden pocket, 786, previous profile, previous range. Very similar to kind of Bitcoin retesting its previous range before continuing down, right? Weekly money flow coming out, to me, indicates, and just very often indicates, continuation of the downtrend. So, like, 1,500 by next week, very hard to call the timing of it, especially when you're hitting support like this. But, you know, I would say money flow still coming out here, not impossible. And I would say the level to break the line in the sand, $2,000. Once you get accepted again into the value area high, can't break out, highest probability area for price to go, really 16 to 1591, right? And if we pull our Fibonacci retracements from the low, see if we have any confluence there. Could pull this on log because it's over a large, no confirmation there on your fib, unfortunately. So really wouldn't want that to lose, right? Like, you'd kind of want to hold, yeah. This would really be the line in the sand. Obviously the value area high, but right now, you're technically testing your golden pocket, which is confluent with the value area low. Lose the golden pocket, next likely place for price to go is to seek out that 786. So technically, this could hold up as support, but once you lose that 786, then you're looking to go down towards the $1,500 range. Saying that comes in a week is, like, very hard to call. But you do have some support down there. Monthly MPOC, weekly level, point of control of the previous macro range. And yeah, these would be definitely the levels I'd be looking at, right? Low, high, can't get back out, back to the low, back to the high, deviation above, back to the low, big deviation below, back into your previous range, back in, flip the low, above the POC, high, deviation, can't get back out, back down to the low. Right? We looked at this on Ethereum as well, right? Of course, it makes sense to come down towards this value area low. Bitcoin's weekly money flow is coming out. Ethereum's weekly money flow is coming out. Not only are you looking for lower highs and lower lows, but you could fill this overall volume profile, which is a slightly different profile than we've been looking at on the channel. But this is like a nice, clean, updated Ethereum chart, right? So, like, right now you're within this profile. Sure, you could deviate below the low a little bit, get back in for a bigger retracement, or maybe even retrace from here. But once you start breaking down out of here, that's where you can look for the bigger move down, in which case I would just look at the... Where'd it go? Bear market range below, right? You're just hoping not to get accepted into this range. If that's the case, you could potentially anticipate going to the POC, lose the POC, maybe go and take out the low. Who knows, right? But you are at support right now, so keep that in mind. Kind of stinks that, right, we do have a spider line down here as well. Spider line at about $2,000. And then where is your next spider line? This is kind of wild, right? Because you have a spider line right here sitting at about $2,048. What else do we have at about $2,048? 2021 macro, confluent with the 2021 macro range, right? Once we lose this, we can look to go down towards the POC, sitting in our lower range, right? Right? Oftentimes when you lose these spider lines, right? Lose, go to the low, bing bong around, lose this, next spider line. Bing bong around, lose this, could be the next spider line at about 1645. Do we have confluence there? Well, let's check the the bear market range. Literally perfect confluence there. So definitely going to be the lose this level, could be a fast drop down there, especially if you lose that 786 we looked at. So we'll see. You're at support right now. I would pay attention to this level. Once we start losing it, could be the bigger drop down there from two different perspectives. Spider line, money flow. 3, spider line, money flow, and volume profiles, right? But again, doesn't mean you can't retrace. And again, like look at your this would be like the perfect, if you get a bigger retracement, like I said, range lows, right? You have a previous profile in here and your spider lines. And your golden pocket. So like this, I would say like on a big retracement, if you see like a big squeeze to the upside, the biggest levels to look at here for a lower high, on a big retracement, 28.18 up to about $3,000. I can't guarantee you'll get up there, right? But if you see a big squeeze, that's the zone to look, in my opinion. There you go. I'll just leave that there. Shout out to Kevin's Awake, said 1,000 for ETH or 1,000 euro. Let me just pull up. What is the bottom of our bear market range? About $1,300. Yeah, I mean, you start coming down here. I mean, you definitely wouldn't want to break the previous bear market lows. That's for sure. What do I think about the new Fed chair? I think if he comes in and he's super pro crypto, guys, I have like an infection in my finger. I don't know what happened. I didn't even get like a cut. My finger looks hilarious though. Can you see that? I don't know if you could see that. It's just like swollen. I don't know what's going on with this. Kind of weird. It hurts really bad. Very strange. It's like weird how much it hurts. It's just like a little red, but if I touch it, I get like a shock of pain through my body. But anyway, what do I think of the new Fed chair? I mean, I think it could, not something I would make a decision off of, obviously. Not that I would be like, oh my God, new Fed chair, now I'm going to buy Bitcoin or anything like that. But I do think it could change things. Like, again, it's kind of part of my argument of saying that it could be valid that we could see a little bit of a muted bear market. You know, again, depending on where it happens at, right? Again, like we have our $70,000 to $59,000 range, volume profile, high volume node, however you want to look at it. If you do wind up getting the move down there, and like depending on when it happens, I think it's supposed to happen in May, right? If we start to see bottom signals, right, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey guys, like chart's not looking as bad as it was. Maybe we can start looking for a macro bottom. Then he gets in, he's super dovish, like, and then like that could be a scenario we see play out. I can't say I'm expecting that to be the case. Perfect. At the end of the day, if we get down there and the charts look like garbage, I'm very likely gonna go with the charts. I would never say like, oh my God, the charts look terrible. Like it does not matter what bullish news came in. If the charts look like garbage, that's what I'm looking for. So again, my decisions will be binary based off the charts. But I would say I think that's a good argument. I think a lot of people are saying this time is different. Like, what if the new Fed chair comes in? I still think like the 4-year cycle kind of just repeated here. But that doesn't mean, again, this time is different. Usually people are just all-time highs, all-time highs, all-time highs. But maybe this time could be different, right? If we get a new Fed chair, they start printing money like crazy. You know, that is a legitimate piece of information that we now have to take into account. And if that lines up, right, like I said, if we start coming down to this 70 to $59,000 range. I'm just going to keep it purple because I don't really feel like changing it just for speed. If we wind up coming down here and we get in, oh my God, super, super bearish, maybe bearish news, dump it. Oh my God, bearish news, dump it. And then on these dumps, we start forming macro bottom bullish confirmations. And we're like, wow, this doesn't look that bad. Maybe we can get a big rotation. Money flow maybe starts to come back up on the weekly time frame, right? If we wind up seeing it play out, like, say, in this amount of time, right? Weekly money flows in the red. Maybe we see some kind of a bullish divergence or something like that. Again, I'm not going to be able to call this perfectly, but something like that, right? Whether it's an SFP, a bullish divergence, whatever it is, and that red money flow starts coming up, we can start to think to ourselves, well, hey, looking very similar again to the bottom here in 2022. Bullish divergence, money flow starts to come back up. As soon as it turns green, bottoms in, bull market, right? So maybe it's a little bit of a shorter, or not even necessarily shorter, depending on whether you think peak euphoria was the top or the actual numerical all-time high was the top. Very similar to here, peak euphoria, numerical all-time high. I'm in the camp that this was really the all-time high when it comes to sentiment, etc. This was really a dead cat bounce. We see this when we compare it to MicroStrategy, right? When I say that I think this was the true top for Bitcoin, this was the peak euphoria. This was peak social interest. This was peak excitement, right? This was essentially an inflated dead cat bounce to print the divergences, sweep the highs, and send it into a bear market. When you look at something like MicroStrategy, it behaved much more traditional, right? High, low, lower high, macro trend change, bear market, right? I think this cycle could have been very similar, right? Peak euphoria, right? Donald Trump, meme coins going crazy, Solana trenches, literally like almost 100% hit rate, guys. When you see Solana trenches or just meme coins in general having like their bull cycle, it's usually a top signal. Now, of course, we did have the numerical all-time high come in to create the technical numerical all-time high, but when you look at the interest in crypto, when you look at the retail sentiment, all the sentiment peaked in 2024. All the altcoins were moving in 2024. The meme coins were moving in 2024, right? So it's very, very similar to, I'll just pull this over on the actual MicroStrategy chart, right? Very similar here, because I can't see the wicks on the line chart, right? You get the high, the lower high, the lower low. Bitcoin, right? Peak sentiment, peak euphoria, peak social interest. Bitcoin puts in the higher high. MicroStrategy puts in the lower high. Bear market, right? MicroStrategy dumps into its previous profile. Bitcoin is potentially on its way down there. Same thing here. High, lower high. Bitcoin puts in the higher high for the bearish divergence, sends it down. Bitcoin goes down, right? So very similar to kind of what we're dealing with right now. Maybe the top was here, right? Maybe we've been in a bear market longer than we realized, right? Maybe we're getting closer to the end than not, right? So maybe we can start looking for that bottom. And if it winds up lining up with May, right, the narrative will be, right, oh, new Fed chair, money, money printing, going crazy, pro crypto, all this stuff. And what will we be saying? We'll be saying, well, we saw this potential scenario long time ago, right? Show me the charts. I'll tell you the news. But we'll see, right? Only time will tell. Who knows? We can get a black swan event. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe that's what sends us into the traditional, right? Like if this winds up being the case, guys, don't investigate me. But maybe we wind up getting a bigger capitulation. Oh my God, it's May, and maybe some kind of black swan happens. There's no positive news on the Fed chair. Maybe they pick somebody else, some bad happens, whatever. And then that is what everyone's hoping for. And then that is what sends Bitcoin down into the traditional 4-year cycle bear market. We'll see. I'm entertaining the idea of something like that, right, around that area. I'm also saying if the charts look like trash here, I'll have no choice but to look down for the next big drop to the next key levels. But we shall see. Can I remember, shout out to Simi, said, can you remember what the liquidation heat map in the last cycle? Can't see much underneath the this level. No, it only goes back so far. So no, I don't personally know what it looks like. You might be able to use like a different tool that might be able to see back further. But honestly, when you get super far away from liquidity, like oftentimes, like especially the liquidity that we're looking at is based off of like the idea of where liquidations are, right? And a lot of the time, right, like anyone who's in like a leveraged long position from $5,000 and is very likely they have not been holding this for, since 2020. Right. So like any liquidity that we did have down there for massive longs, right, is probably just not there anymore. Right. Or anyone from down here, like, yeah, you could still be holding longs, but, very likely like people are taking profit, right? People are closing trades. So it becomes less significant the older those levels become, in my opinion. Let's see. Kevin is going to bring us down more. Who the heck is Kevin? Q2, we go up, test 100K. Q3, back down again. 4-year cycle still alive, all because of Binance. Thank you, 10 out of 10. I don't know exactly what that means. Yes, there you go. You got it. I don't know exactly what that means, but yeah. I mean, listen, could you get a big bounce to 100K? Yeah, potentially, right? Still wouldn't change my overall thought process. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Shout out to whoever said that. Shout out to JC Dub. Yeah, like my long-term thought process is like even if you get the bigger retracements, like still probably more downside. We'll see what happens in here. If I had to guess, right, like gun to my head, you have to pick. You have to pick right now. What do you think is going to happen? Of course, I would have to say I need the information, but I don't know. Like this weekly money flow is still kind of early. Any kind of bounce, I would still pretty much have to, like, even if we came down here, be looking for lower highs, lower lows, whether we go up to 100K, 90K, etc. Doesn't matter. But we'll see. Time will tell. Let's come down lower time frame here. Did we get the 15-minute red dot? Almost. Might be able to get a little bit of a pullback here. Like we looked at, 12, 15-minute red dots print. That will be the first little ebb flow to the downside. Hoping, right, that the 15-minute money flow can just continue to trend up. Right, so see if that red dot comes. Maybe we'll get a little pullback. I'll pull some local levels here. Let's pull the golden pocket. Excuse me, anchored VWAP. See what we got down here. All right, so we'll see. I'm going to pull this a little up, and we'll just see if we can hold that. And then if not, we'll drag it down here. So we'll see. We'll see if we can get that little pullback. 15-minute red dot prints. That's where I would expect it to happen. Again, I'm not trying to predict it'll happen exactly when it prints. But that would be kind of, just walking you guys through my thought process here, right? Red dot prints typically then give you an ebb or a flow. If the money flow on the 15 and 12-minute can continue up, you would expect a higher low and a potential higher high. We shall see. And we'll come off the Binance chart. And we'll come on, or Bitstamp chart, I should say. And look at that. Anchored VWAP, alert goes off. Literally proven to be the resistance. Little bearish divergence is there on the 3-minute as well. Not saying you have to scalp that, but I'm just saying, like, when you're looking at price action move, it's like you have your alert set, anchored VWAP, golden pocket, value area low, higher highs on your price, lower highs on your momentum waves. Not impossible to get a little pullback from there, right? Money flow obviously crossing green, but which could indicate overall trend to the upside, but like just to kind of show that, right? Like not all bear divs are created equal, but you hit resistance, higher highs, lower highs, bada boom. Even your 12 and 15-minute red dots or 12-minute red dot printing, that could assist that bearish divergence to continue playing out. I would probably look for the golden pocket, 786 retracements. See if you can get a little bit of a pullback. Now, of course, you could pull your super hyper local fibs. So I would say, let me get rid of those brushes. See if those red dots can bring us down. I would say lose this. Head down towards 75K again. Let's see. All right. Kevin is the kid from Home Alone. Shout out to Rudy. I got in March 2025 and got frustrated and got out. Now I regret not watching this channel before I got in. Shout out to Lakeville. Hey, bro. I love to hear that. I love to hear that, bro. I love to hear that you wish you were watching the channel. It makes me feel good. I hate that you got frustrated and obviously not good. I don't wish that on you, of course. But yeah, bro, you're here now. You're here now, and we're here to help. We're here to help. We're happy to have you. Let's see. Lakeville said I made $3. Shout out to Lakeville. Don't feel bad, bro, especially if you just got into crypto. There is, it's kind of like everybody's first cycle. Like you're kind of, it's like a rite of passage to get like basically just wrecked by the top, have FOMO, right? Like especially in crypto, especially if you have no other like experience in the markets, right? Like if you don't have experience trading or investing in other things and you're just like kind of getting into crypto thinking like everybody's buying this stuff, it's going up, let me get in. It's like a rite of passage, so don't feel bad about that. I obviously did not start where I am today. It took me a long time to get where I am now. So there we go. 12-minute red dot starting to give you the drop to the downside. Again, low time frame bear divs form in there. Let's see. See if we can get that golden pocket tapped. Drop an alert there. Let's see. Do you believe AI will bring $2 trillion in revenue by 2030 without fully functioning robot infrastructure? If not, it's a bubble. If so, it's organic growth. We are in unprecedented times. Yeah, shout out to Mr. Market. AI low-key blowing my mind recently. Not ChatGPT, but like AI agents are insane. They're getting better exponentially over time. And the crazy thing too is I don't know. I don't know if I'm qualified to answer that question. Like I said, I'd consider myself an expert. I guess a self-proclaimed expert. Not that I don't have a public track record, but I don't know if I don't know if I'm an expert on that whole thing. But I will say, like, my thought process is like, with AI, like the exponential growth is insane, right? Because like the better the AI gets, the better they can help build it, and like that's just like AI is as bad as it will be today, and it's only going to get better. And then the better it gets, the faster it will get better, which is kind of a horrifying like exponential curve. And then you also think about like, is the hardware here? The Optimus robots are pretty crazy. I mean, you look at like any of like even the Bostic Dynamic robots, like all these like physical robotics has made like leaps and bounds of progress. Tony D might be qualified to answer the robotics question as far as how, to me, right, the Optimus robot is mind-blowing, and like a lot of the other ones, like the humanoid robots, are mind-blowing. Is that just like marketing? I don't know. I'm not qualified to answer that question, but to me, it seems like, I don't know, like maybe the hardware is catching up. I don't know. I don't know. Also makes sense for it to be somewhat of a bubble, right? Like .com bubble, AI bubble, who knows? My first cycle, I won enough to win full custody of my son. Never looked back. Shout out to Satoshi, bro. That's awesome to hear, man. That's awesome to hear. And you didn't have to make a mistake in the cycle and sell, buy the top and sell the bottom either, or round trip your bags. That's amazing, bro. And the fact that you got custody of your son. Let's go. Shout out to Satoshi. Come on, baby. Yeah, shout out to Dave. Said if you're playing with like Clawbot, OpenClaw, or any other agent, please remember security first. This game has changed. Yeah. Did you see the thing where the guy got a phone call, like an uncalled for phone call from his AI bot? That's horrifying. Yo, shout out to PTTV. I don't know what your full name is. I can't really see it, but he says, I had a new job orientation today. Opened up a long at 73K and ripped a long. Let's go. Shout out to you, bro. Turn back around. He's in the orientation. He's like, hang on, the long's ripping. I don't want the job anymore. Walks out. Let's go, bro. Who dares to short from here? Yeah. Only longs. Only longs. At least, at least down here. Right? Of course, not saying I wouldn't entertain shorts on retracements or maybe adding to shorts on the retracements, but yeah, obviously, short at support, never really what you're looking for, never really what I'm looking for. But as you guys can see, 12-minute red dot, continuing to push down. Hopefully just kind of explaining this price action through with you guys can help you. 15-minute red dot also looking to follow suit. We'll see if we can pull up into those. All right, just like look at that value area low. Perfect little tapper. Right in there. Pretty wild. And also pretty long. I mean, pretty easy for me personally to take the long down there. Just because I'm like super hedge long. I mean, super hedge short. I was in Walmart leverage trading. Shout out to Satoshi Glakamoto. Yeah, people oftentimes ask me, like, Frankie, what does your trading setup look like? What kind of PC should I have? Like, can I trade from a laptop? And it's so funny. I personally have a custom PC. I have a big screen over here, ultra wide in the middle, vertical screen here for chat. But, like, you don't need that at all. You could trade on your 7-year-old Android. Doesn't matter. Obviously it's a little annoying going on your phone to check the charts because it's a small screen, but you do not need some kind of massive, strong setup to trade, right? I mean, sometimes you could pull, if you're using something like, if you're using like order flow softwares, those sometimes are like pretty, what's the word? Pretty heavy, right? From like a computing standpoint, they take a lot of resource heavy, I should say. But like TradingView, exchange to take the trades, like you could trade on a Chromebook if you wanted to. Are Chromebooks still a thing? Yeah, I trade on a tablet. Shout out to Fiat Level. Yeah, I mean, like, listen, is it nice to have a bigger screen? Sure, but yeah, you do not need like any kind of special requirements from like a power perspective. Like you could run TradingView on anything, pretty much. Hey, shout out to Saeed. Welcome in, bro. Good to see you. Welcome in, brother. Always happy to see Saeed in the chat. He's here like every day. And he's up at like early hours of the morning to catch the live streams. We appreciate you, bro. That's kind of like, I mean, I'll trade on my phone if I'm out. Obviously, I'm not always sitting on my computer. I'd say like during the week. I'm at my desk like 90% of the day. But of course, like, it's nice to mark out the levels on the, on the nice big screen. And then, you just kind of, you can even set your alerts and then, oh, my alert's going off, check it on your phone. And then, of course, executing on your phone is super easy as well. Regular Guy Trades in the chat said, I'm here. The party can start again. Shout out to Regular Guys Trades. Welcome in, bro. Stupid Bitcoin in the chat. What is up? I have a multi-screen setup at my desk, but I trade off my desk. I trade off my phone. Are we going to 63K? Depends. I mean, I would look between 67 and 70K first. Those are the major key levels. Let me just hide the bada boom. I'll take this off. I would say 70 to 67K is the next big level to look at. 63K. I mean, if we pull up all the confluence here, you have a weekly at about 63K. But really, I would say a majority of your confluence is between 70 and 67K. You have your value area high, POC of your range with backup support to 65K. Once you lose 67K decisively, that's where I'd really be looking down to like 61 to 59K. I don't really have much around 63K specifically. This is the next. If we do continue down overall, guys, the big targets here for me personally 70 to 67.5. Lose 67.5 or 67.6. Lose that POC. Probably headed down to 59, almost 60K, right? Bada boom, bada bing. Don't forget to smash that like button, guys. I kept self-control and didn't chase the short, which allowed me to catch the mean reversion play. Let's go. Shout out to the bedhead guy. I love it, bro. And, that's kind of a part of the reason why these volume profiles play out so well. It's like it's essentially it's like a mean reversion, right? Or is it? I actually don't think. I mean, it's kind of like the idea of a mean reversion, but I think I don't think mean reversion is actually technically the right term, right? Because like the mean is average, right? I haven't been in a like a statistics class in a long time. Mean. Oh no, median would be the average, right? Hang on. Let's see. I think it would be like mode revision, right? Because like mode is the highest. Mean is the average. Yeah, okay, so I was right. Mean is the average. It's not really an average. Median is the middle value. And then mode is the most frequently. Yeah, so it's really a mode reversion, kind of, right? Because the mean reversion, like if you're going to the POC, it would be the mode reversion because that has the most frequency. Meaning, like, this is really the mode. The highest volume node would be the mode. Guess you can call it a high volume mode. Not a median. The median, right, or the middle value, I guess, would be the value area. But yeah, technically it's not a mean reversion. It's like a mode reversion, right? You're going to the highest area place where the highest amount of volume was traded, right? So the push into the POC would technically be a mode reversion, but it doesn't even matter, right? Like you're looking for a POC reversion. Same thing, right? Undervalued, you're looking to go back to the POC. Overvalued, you're looking to go back to the POC. Undervalued, hopefully we could continue up to the POC. I was actually thinking about that the other day. I was like, I don't know if it's a mean reversion. It's probably a mode reversion. Yo, shout out to Dave Digital said the Mafia encourages hitting. I mean, where are the Mafia? Oh, he said the like button. Yeah, smash the like button, Mafia. The mode reversion. Yeah, shout out to Brillo. Frankie needs an automatic standing desk to get his blood flowing, sitting 90% of the day. Love mine. Never sit anymore. Oh, man, should I say it? Should I say it? This desk, my desk does stand. I never stand while live. Like my backdrop would be like totally out of frame and stuff. But yeah, I do have an automatic standing desk. And I definitely don't stand at it very often. Shout out to Mr. Market said I've traded here, I've traded there, I've traded in my underwear, I've traded on planes, I've traded on a plane, I've traded on a boat, all because of Frankie is the GOAT. Shout out to Mr. Market. Let's go, baby. Let's go. I've traded on a plane too. It's actually pretty funny. Like if you can catch your trades, like sometimes if I'm traveling like during the week, and I'm like in the Discord on the plane, like there were times where we had a setup on the plane. And I literally took the trade and paid for the trip on the plane. On the plane ride there, I paid for the plane ticket, the hotel, and everything, just by sitting there 30,000 feet in the air. Pretty wild. It's like the one cool thing about trading is like there's just no location lock. Like you could literally be, trying to think of the weirdest place I've actually took a trade and made money. Probably a plane would be like the most like crazy place, or like I guess like technically 30,000 feet in the sky is the craziest place. But I've pretty much taken trades and managed trades from everywhere. But probably on a plane was the best. It was just cool because I was out going on a trip and paid for the trip, and like the trade like played out like very quickly too. So it was just kind of like boom. I was like, all right, trip paid for. So we're just gonna roll into the late show. No stops, huh? Yo, shout out to Philly Skills. Yeah, no stopping over here. What are we? Dang, we're already at 3 hours, guys. Yeah, the day shows are apparently long. They're a lot easier to go long on because I got all day, right? We need to get Frankie a screaming goat. Shout out to Regular Guys Trades. Yeah, dude, I want that goat that screams. I tried to find the sound effect, but couldn't find it somehow. I don't wear pants. I don't wear pants on stream, Dave. I do not. Nobody knows that because you can never see the bottom half of me. As a matter of fact, you guys don't even know what the bottom half of me looks like. I might be a reptilian. Poo trades are the best. Yo, poo trades. Yeah, I've definitely done that. That's actually one of the more common places. It's one of the more like one of the peaceful places. You can really sit there and just think about the execution. 12-hour stream, run it, baby. That would be the Rudy. Shout out to Rudy. That would be the limit. Toilet trades are dangerous. That's why all my trades go to shit. Shout out to Clea. Do I believe Dogecoin will go to the moon? Maybe at some point. Probably not while Bitcoin is going down. The bottom is going to be between... Yo, shout out to Eric says the bottom will be between 76 and 0. High probability. High probability. Where is Rudy with an eye? Come on, Rudy. Where's Rudy? We didn't see him today, I don't think. Trading on a BlackBerry is crazy. I miss BlackBerries, guys. I think they should bring BlackBerries back. If Bitcoin doesn't get relief, at least I do. But yeah, let's see. Come on, Bitcoin. Tap the golden pocket here. 15-minute red dot, not even printing yet. 12-minute red dot. Did I say 15-hour? 15-minute. Let's waiting for that 15-minute red dot, see if we can get the pullback. Yeah, 3-hour red dot. I mean, green dot looking to print. 2-hour green dot looking to print. But as you can see there, that little SFP did give nice little push up. Not too shabby. Shout out to Brillo. Says, Frankie, do you ever say no? It depends on the question. Depends on the question. Ask me a question, and I'll say no. I mean, if I want. We'll see. Maybe, like, when it comes based off the charts, like, will Dogecoin go to 0? I mean, will Dogecoin go to the moon? I mean, it's kind of hard to answer 100% yes or 100% no, right? Like, but yeah, depending on the question. I mean, I personally, right, I can give you my opinion, at least on Dogecoin, if that's what you're talking about. Dogecoin to the moon, right? Like, not right now, necessarily, right? There's, like, nothing on this chart that makes me think it's going to go to the moon right now. But Dogecoin has survived crypto for a very long time, right? Survived bear markets. It stayed around. I mean, of course, this cycle, essentially, it did just get a Fibonacci retracement. So I do think most altcoins will not survive. But Dogecoin has technically stood the test of time here as a meme coin, right? It's kind of like a blue chip meme coin. So I do think, right, like it would not be illogical to expect Dogecoin in another bull market to continue up and push into new all-time highs when we have a bull market that facilitates much more liquidity and a better scenario for some kind of massive alt season. Frankie says no to short streams. That is for sure. I don't think I've ever said yes to a short stream. Frankie, are you straight? You know, there was Mrs. Candles always thought that I mean, not Mrs. Candles. Everybody always thought Mrs. Candles before she showed her real hand and I was showing an inflatable hand, people were questioning it. But yes, I am 100% straight. SFP isn't going to hold dump it. Yeah, shout out to Spinner Trades. I would not be surprised about that. I would not necessarily say that, you know, again, I don't love the major confirmations here. Like, I don't know. This looks like it might want to print a bull div. This is a little impulsy, though. We'll see. I think if you get the 4-hour bull div, I think this is the thing to watch, right? For me personally, right? You get the 4-hour bull div to print lower lows, higher lows. I think that is a good thing. Get accepted into your range. Look for the continuation up towards the value area high, 79K. That would be a good indication that maybe we could see a little bit of a sustained retracement. But, of course, all you really have here is the 2-hour SFP. You don't have any of like the 45-minute bull divs. You have no medium time frame bull divs, which of course I always prefer to see. But it was worth me taking a shot at the long there just because, of course, right, we did get confirmation, right? Let me see if I can pull it up here. So, yeah, wasn't even that long. Make a quick little $1,000 here. But I'd honestly even be fine holding this with stop loss at break even. Just for just as a hedge, right? Like already in profit. If it wants to continue up, I got the hedge long now. If this thing nukes down, I am super okay with that to just kind of hold the hold the short positions. I'm like super easy for me to take that long when I have the shorts from like much higher. So we'll see. Super cushy position to be in right now, to be honest. Just printing money. Ethereum view. Shout out to Shub. Can't see that full name. Ethereum view. We already took a look at Ethereum. If you scrub back, you'll see it. It was more something I noticed with your answers. Yeah, shout out to Brilla. I mean, it's hard for me to say no, right? Because I kind of talked about this the other day. I am fully, I have a lot of experience, right? And a lot of people will say, at least when it comes to the markets, right? It's really hard for me to say, like, I'll always have, and like any real trader you talk to will have this, this view, right? You're never going to really see a real trader, right? That is going to be 100%, yeah, like, can we pump from here? Like, you could say it's very unlikely, right? Is it impossible? No, right? But when it comes to the charts, right, like I've been here enough. I've been humbled enough. I have enough market experience to understand. Can you, like even here, right? Frankie, can we go to all-time highs from here? In my opinion, very low probability, right? I'm playing that trade. I'm playing that, we put our money where our mouth is. We were looking for the shorts here, obviously, taking the shorts here. But, can I say no? You're not going to all-time highs. No, right? Because I've seen crazy things happen in the market, and especially when you come up here and you have people watching you, I feel a responsibility to give the truth, right? And honestly, the more decisive somebody is, right? Like again, I could say my strong bias is lower highs, lower lows, right? I'm kind of happy that we could eventually see this end, and I could stop talking about that because I'm sick of talking about it. But there's a reason we look for that stuff. But I could never say, because the answer to the question is I don't know. Right? And no matter where we are in the market, doesn't matter how much we snipe the tops, short the tops, long the bottoms, doesn't matter how much we do that, how right we are, how oftentimes. I am never 100% certain because it's impossible to be 100% certain. And when someone is super certain, it shows that it only shows lack of experience, right? Because anyone who's experienced in the market understands that you have to play it. It's a game of probabilities. Anyone calling for massive prediction of like, it's going to drop here, it has to drop here 100%. They have not been in the market long enough. They don't understand how the market moves, and they haven't been humbled enough. That's what it says to me, right? Just screams inexperience. I can't tell you how many people come in here. They're like, it's guaranteed going to go up here by this day, and then we're rolling over to go down by this day. And I'm like, I know for a fact there's no way you can know that. Could that happen? Obviously, right? But when people are super, super decisive about saying the market is going to do this, you're an idiot if you think the opposite. It just screams inexperience to me. And that's kind of why I never really say, can we go to all-time highs? No, we can't go to all-time highs. It's just not true. But he said he has a really good question. Did you buy SafeMoon in the last bull market? No, I bought SafeMoon in not this bull market, the previous bull market, 2 bull markets ago. I bought SafeMoon. I think the second day it came out. Turned $100 into like 20 grand, I think, something like that. And I had everybody and their grandma. Come on, man, just take some profit. It's going to be 100,000 tomorrow. You're an idiot. It's going to be 100K tomorrow. Who paid the price for that? This guy. So again, when I say, when I talk about this stuff, I speak from experience. That's what I think when I see someone say something that has to happen or will happen. They usually don't know what they're talking about. 100%. 100%. Now that doesn't mean that they won't get something right once in a while. But yeah, like that's a big warning sign, right? Like super decisive. Now, again, I could be super confident in my bias, right? But the second I just say this can't happen, Big warning sign. This is guaranteed to happen? Absolutely not. Trading is not a prediction skill. I was going to abbreviate it with PRED, but I won't. It is not a prediction skill. You need to shift your mindset from a prediction mindset, right? Because this is all like a lot of people online will be like very predictive, right? Because this is very, it's good for social media, right? But if you really want to make money, you need to switch from a prediction mindset to a probability mindset. And even when you have a super high probability and you can make a lot of money off of those high probability moves, it does not mean that they are 100%, right? Because if you think something is guaranteed going to happen, these people are going to get wrecked, right? Because they think this has to be the bottom. I'm all in. They think it's guaranteed to go up. They're not going to manage the risk there if they are 100%, if they're actually 100% certain, right? So what's going to happen if you understand that it's a probability, right? And you know the higher probability is maybe, like me personally, right? I might have the shorts open here. I might have the shorts open from here, right? But I understand that if price starts breaking above the 786 here that was at about 94K, I'm probably going to want to stop out of those shorts before I get cooked, right? But if I think this is 100% likely, maybe you're not setting your stop loss, right? Maybe you're quadrupling down. You're taking too big of a position size. And then what happens if the lower probability indeed does play out? Because low probability is not zero probability. And I understand that because I've seen the higher probability scenario not play out before, right? So you're not going to protect yourself. You're going to get absolutely wrecked if you're actually that confident. Right? And when you get into the market, like, you'll feel that confidence sometimes. Until you feel that confident, you don't protect yourself and you get cooked, right? And that comes through experience. So I would 100% say that, like, the more deterministic somebody is, you have to be really careful with that because it is kind of a sign of inexperience. Maybe the chart gods got mad when we stopped talking about the banana zones and started talking about banana hammocks. Yeah, you guys, I wear a banana hammock every live stream. You guys just wouldn't know that. All right, let's see. I'm willing to lose 10 to 30% if I can catch the next dip. Or if it goes up, I'm in early. Shout out to BB Guns. Let's go. Solana, I could try to take a look at Solana. Just make sure I didn't miss anything here. Ready to wait for your retirement at this point, boys. Correction, work till your retirement, boys. Oh, man. All right, let's take a look at Solana. I'm just, like, waiting for this golden pocket to get tapped. Come on. Love the honesty, Frankie. Shout out to Misanthropic. Of course, right? I mean, it's in my best interest to give the honesty, right? If I wanted to call for, like, new all-time highs for just no reason, right, and just want to, like, try to get a bunch of likes or, whatever, right? It's better for views. Everybody be super mad right now. I think a lot of people learn their lesson this cycle. It's like I sit on Instagram and stuff, and I see, like, oh, there we go. Finally, golden pocket tapped. There we go. Right on track here. 15-minute red dot printing and confirmed. All right, there's your pop into your golden pocket. There we go. Now, we don't want this money flow to make a new low. We want this to kind of start to curve back around. But, yeah, like, I go on Instagram, and, like, I see these people. They're like, you know what? I think I'm going to, like, stop making price predictions. Like, keyword, prediction. That's already wrong. People start walking stuff back. Prediction, I mean, it's fine to make predictions as long as you understand what a prediction is, right? If you have a prediction without probability, you have a gamble. Let's see. Can 5-minute go green to feel something about this long? Let's see. Yeah, well, if we get this 5-minute money flow crossover, 80-minute green dot confirmed. Yeah, that's not confluent anymore. We really need the 2-hour green dot. There we go. 2-hour green dot Yeah, let's see the 15-minute. Hopefully we can get that 15-minute money flow to continue up as well. 90-minute green dot. I mean, I'll just give the, obviously this is the local fib, right? If we don't hold here, obviously I'd be looking down here. But overall, right, pull from the low to the high. Technically, this 786 at 73,675 is the level you don't want to lose. If we go down for a bigger retracement, technically, you could come down here. All right, once you start losing this 786, you're probably going to break the low. That sits at 73,686. So we shall see. Yo, shout out the fiat level. I don't know who Samson is, but promise the God candle. He just forgot to say that it was a God candle. It was a red God candle. That's crazy. All right, let's see. I lost 6K in Safe Moon, but I learned a very valuable lesson. Me too. What's your TA say on ETH? We already looked at ETH. If you scrub back till you see the ETH chart, you'll see my full thoughts on ETH and some new levels we haven't talked about. All right, let's take a look at Solana here real quick. All right. Come on over to the altcoin chart. Okay, so let's take a look here. I'm going to take off the old fibs. Oh, interesting. Hang on a second. Oh, yeah, we barely took out these lows. Are we in bar replay? Why is this thing not interesting? All right, so we talked about this. I would be key levels to the upside honestly remain exactly the same. However, right, what do we have here? This is your big support level, right? If we lose our volume profile here, we impulse to the downside. Price is going to seek out fair value. Where is the area where the highest volume profile, or areas where the highest volume was traded? Right here on the POC. Bada boom. Here we sit. Impulse out. Attract to that POC. We obviously had support here on a daily, which is now tapped. A weekly, which has now been lost and bearishly retested. I'm going to keep this here, though, just because it could be an important resistance flip. I'm just going to go ahead and hide it. So from a volume profile perspective, price has lost value, impulsed, and seeked fair value, which is the POC, or just inside this profile in general. So I would say locally, your key levels, point of control sitting at 102.47, value area high sitting at 107.74. Can't get out of here, lose the POC. Technically, you could start to look down towards the low at about 80.86. Now, if you break out, right, if you're able to get the push up, and we'll take a look at the lower time frames in a second, if you could get back above and get a bigger retracement, this is still a pretty important level to watch. Value area low, golden pocket retracement sits between 126.69 and 130.49. Let me just see something. You also have a daily horizontal in here. So you got a little confluence there. Daily level. And then you have your POC 786 confluence at about 138. There you go. So this could be two big levels to look at if you get a bigger retracement to come in. It's a big if. If you can't break out of here, well, you might just get accepted into the profile and get the bigger break, which makes your next major key level of support about 80.68. Simple volume profile theory. Can you hold the PLC and get a bounce? Sure. Can you hold the PLC and get a bounce? Sure. When we look at the weekly time frame, though, of course, this does look like overall, even if you get the bounce, lower highs, lower lows. That would be the biggest level I'd watch. Of course, there's going to be local levels you can look at. I'm not going to pull every single local level, but of course, if you know how to pull your fib, you can pull them from the previous lower highs. You can watch the Fibonacci retracement tutorial if you want to learn more about how I pull my fibs and trade them. But take a look at the 4 hour here. Yeah, you don't really have the 4-hour bull div just yet. I could try to find some. Let's see here. It's like really, I mean, this is your volume profile at the end of the day. Could try to see if we can get any, yeah, we have no. You got a weekly level. See the monthly. Yeah, monthly is already tapped. Right, it's monthly from here. It's been tapped, tapped, tapped 3 times. More times you tap on a level, sometimes the more likely it is to break, which is not great. But yeah, the only other level I could give you guys down here below the POC before you get to the value area low would be the weekly at about $91. So can't get above the POC. Look for a move down to $91. And at the end of the day, it would essentially pretty much be looked at as just an overall volume profile rotation. So that's what I would look at on Solana. And then you really don't want to lose this because to be, I guess you do have some kind of support down here. You'll have these levels. You'll have these levels. But when you look at this from a volume profile perspective or visible range volume profile perspective, yeah, I mean, yeah, a little support there, a little support there, a little support there, but obviously your highest volume node is down here, so kind of a pretty decent fall off in volume, although you do have spikes at about 56. I'm not saying you have to go down there, right? But, you know, just kind of showing like fast move up, not a ton of volume. So, you know, this could get slippery down here. So, really don't want to lose this volume profile, in my opinion. So, there you go. That's what I would look at on Solana. Daily, looking for a potential green dot, but no real bullish divergences or anything like that. I mean, you got a little SFP of the low here, but that was 2 days ago. So we didn't actually even take the low here on Solana yet, or the current low. Yeah, I don't know. You don't really have any bull divs. It doesn't look great. I would probably be viewing this personally through a local range perspective. But yeah, you lost the weekly, bearish rejection, like pretty strong bearish rejection. I'd be inclined to just watch the larger profile. If you can't get back above the POC, there's no reason to look up towards $107. If you can't get back above the value area high, there's no reason to be looking up towards $126. So I would just play this level to level. Your next big key level of support, 91, and then your real first big level of resistance to break out of is 107. And then major support at the value area low, $80.49. Sold to 40 minimum. Shout out to John. Let's see here. I would love to know what makes you say that. And I don't say that as a challenge. I just say I'm genuinely curious. Yeah, a little spike in volume there. Back down into this value. All right, probably the POC of this range around $40. 33. Kind of in the middle there. Oh, whoops. I think I pulled that to... 40. So, yeah, it gets you to the top of that value. And just structurally, you would look for support there. I wouldn't say it's like a major level. Previous, tapped monthly. Maybe you want to flip that to support. Trying to find some kind of major thing down there. But, yeah, I mean, hey, if you break down below this value here, I'd probably be looking at 57 and then just underneath that around $40. And if you lose, I would say 53, 55, probably a fast drop down to about $40. Obviously, wouldn't say it's guaranteed, but if you did see that happen, could see $40 come in. Let's see. Shout out to New Earth Guardian said, but they said to buy the dip. They said alt season. Shout out to New Earth Guardian. That plays right into the market psychology that we talked about here before we got the bigger drop down. When people scream buy the dip, you do not buy the dip. People were not wanting to buy this dip. I know this because people were DMing me and asking me if this was the bear market, to which most of them I didn't answer because that would be impossible for me to do. But the chances of Bitcoin putting in the top here were almost zero, right? I wouldn't say not 100%, but almost zero. Having just happened, right? Obviously, the chart was super bullish. Chances of Bitcoin putting in a 7% all-time high and then nuking to zero is very low. This is looked at as a bull market correction. There's the golden pocket tap that we were waiting for. I'll go back to that in just a second. But nobody really wants to buy this dip. They're super scared. New all-time high. And then we get here, even worse than here. Oh, my God, what's happening? And this is even worse because you had all the bullish news that got everybody really excited at the top. This is where we got a lot. The very little retail that we got this cycle came in up here, and then they got absolutely cooked after buying the top. It was almost like people were upset with me that I wasn't calling for the bear market here. They were like very upset almost, which is interesting because usually people are upset when we're looking for the move down. I understand that. Usually people aren't upset about hearing higher prices, but here, for whatever reason, they were very upset. I had personal friends texting me, oh, my God, what's happening? Family, normie friends, like, I bought in. I thought it was all bullish because of the Trump stuff, and then now I'm down. What is going on? Is this the bear market? And I was just like, chart still look good for all-time highs. If you watch the show, you'll know we were looking for high time frame bullish confirmations here. Money flow comes up. We look for the new high. We get it. Then price comes down. I feel like this was kind of the area where people had a lot of hope. Where people are hopeful to buy the dip is typically not the dip you want to buy. And then you get the Dumpski. Same thing here, almost the exact same thing. Here, people were saying 30K is the bottom, high or low, 100K. Everyone wanted this. Nothing. We didn't get anywhere near 100K. Dump it into the bear market. And then same thing here. So New Earth Guardian, I love that you said that because what can we look for now? Right? People don't think it's the bear market, right? Oh, my God, high or low, 250K, or at least a 50-week moving average. Now what do we need? If we can get some kind of super bearish sentiment or narrative, right? Nobody wants to buy it now, right? Oh, my God, now it's the bear market. Nobody wants to buy it. Those are going to be the dips that I'm buying, right? Not saying I'm definitely going to buy this dip. It depends on what happens down there. But yeah, you never want to buy the dips that people want to buy. You want to buy the ones where they're scared and they think the asset is dead, like when FTX and Terra Luna collapse. When there's a narrative, there's a reason. Why would you buy crypto? They're going to regulate it into the ground. Why would you buy crypto? You can't hold it safely. Exchanges are going down, right? You want to buy the opposite. You want to counter trade those people, right? Buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, right? I'm sure there were people saying buy the dip here, but I could just tell from the sentiment through the live streams, through the videos, people were just like trying to argue like, no, this cycle's over. And I could just really what I don't even really base it off the chat or the like comments or anything, because you have to understand, like, if you're in this live chat, if you're in the mafia, you are a crypto person, right? I base my narrative, my sentiment really based off normie people, right? So when I have family texting me, oh my God, is this the bear market? I'm thinking, and they're saying I bought all my altcoins up here. I mean, classic, right? Like, dang, like, why didn't you talk to me? And even the people I talked to didn't listen to me. Like, don't buy at the top. Just wait for a retracement or something. Then it's like, what happened? Is this the bear market? It's like you bought the greed. You want to sell the fear. You're scared. I'm looking for a bounce. And then down here, I just feel like massive hope, right? Usually not a dip you want to buy. Wait till everybody's super scared. And we'll see when that happens. If it happens down here, maybe I'll be looking to take the bait a little bit, right? And then if we go lower, we could continue to dollar cost average in. And I'll walk you guys through it every single step of the way. Yeah, if you buy the dip, do it DCA. Yeah, I would never say if you want to buy a little bit here and buy a little bit here and then dump again, buy a little bit there, I would never say that's that's like a bad idea. Like, if someone wanted to buy here, I'd feel way better about it than all the people in my family and my friends I told not to buy the top. It's like, they're like, yeah, but it's pumping. I'm going to miss it. I'm like, dude, you don't understand how normal that is to hear from somebody. Trust me. I've been here. I see everybody like, don't do that. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. Do whatever you want, but please don't do that. They just do it anyway. So, yeah, it's wild. So we'll wait, right? But if someone says, hey, I bought the dip here, as long as it's not like I put my whole bag in, I'm like, well, hey, I can't really hate on that, right? Like, maybe you could be buying the start of the downtrend, but at least you're buying on a big dip, right? If you're taking a little nibble here, take a little nibble here, you can't really be like, that's a horrible idea. Take a little nibble here. Get the average entry cost, right? Like, not everybody could watch the charts like a hawk. Sometimes you just got to, get a Coinbase notification, Bitcoin down 20%, and be like, I'll just throw a little bit in. That's a totally different scenario. So, yeah. Order at 60K. I don't hate it. Shout out to Henry. Let's see. We had a weekly close below the April lows, and we made a macro lower high in price by sweeping the April lows, even though it's just a wick so far. We'll pull up the weekly, right? Well, you will know last week the thing that we needed to see, which, of course, right, not super confident on. The thing we really needed to see was this weekly candle close above the 786, right, which obviously we had 2 days left for that to print. Obviously did not see that happen, right? So if you wanted to be like bullish to potentially break this high, you really needed to close above that 786, which was like not even close to being the case, unfortunately. So, but yeah, we do not have a weekly candle close below the April lows, though. We have a weekly candle close above, technically, but we do not have a weekly candle close below. If we do, though, well, that'd be like a high time frame loss of support there. Let's see. All right, so yeah, 24-minute red dot. Yeah, I'm not really loving the money flow on the 15-minute here. Yeah, so I would say full Fibonacci retracement. 74, 365, 786 at 73, 678. Probably, in my opinion, probably more likely we come down to one of the bigger fibs for two reasons, right? Number one, the 15-minute money flow not really doing what we would want there, right? Like coming down. We can still put in a higher low, right? But if we start breaking this, money flow is just back in the red. 30-minute red dot also looking to come in. 24-minute red dot also looking to come in. So these are probably going to follow suit on that 15-minute red dot, right? We look for the 12, 10, 12, 15-minute red dots to get a little bit of a cool off. You have your first retrace, or you got your retracement levels here. This is the level you don't want to lose. I'd say this is the zone you don't want to lose. I think it could be very likely we come down there just because not only to get the 15-minute red dot, but as you get that to give you the start, now you get the 24-minute red dot, 30-minute red dot. Not impossible to see those give you continued ebbs down. And to be honest, something like this is kind of hard, right? Because like 30-minute money flow crossover into the red, 8-hour red dot printing, looking to confirm in about an hour and 35 minutes. Like that is not the most bullish scenario, right? I'm happy to hold the long here, maybe to break even, maybe even to get stopped out for a small loss because, again, I'm obviously hedged gigantically on the shorts. So pretty cushy position to be in. But, yeah, we'll see. If you do want the higher low and you want the continuation, I would say it's really got to happen in this zone, right? We start losing 73.7, I'd look to take out the low again, in which case, don't forget, super, super low volume area. Nothing underneath us. If we get rejected out of this low, pull up the daily, right? If we get sucked out of this low, we can't get back above there and hold. I mean, really the next level to look at is 70 to 67K. There's nothing else underneath us. Like if we're not going to fake this out, send it up. We break that low, a.k.a. that 786 locally that I just brought up. I'm looking down towards 70K for the most part. Which, to be honest, I'm not even happy to get stopped out of break even. I'd be happy to take my stop loss, take a loss on that trade. Because, again, the shorts will just continue to pay me out. But we'll see here. So, the biggest key level I will leave you guys with going to be right here. Maybe you bounce off the earlier levels. That's fine. Already took the long from lower. But I would say golden pocket, 74,357, 786, 73,678. That you don't want to lose. And honestly, would look a lot cleaner to me personally if you could hold from the swing low to the swing high here. Are we still live? What just happened? All right. I think we're back. Did we just get, like, signed out of YouTube? I don't know what just happened. Shout out to Teresa said the exchanges will probably close you out with some glitch to 82K. Close me out on the longs? I hope so. They can close me out on the longs at 82K. Not that I would want that to happen, but maybe. I don't know. I think the exchange glitches are usually in everybody's head. I've had those moments where I'd be like, what happened? I had my stop loss set and the exchange took it off. And then, much more likely that I probably forgot to set a stop loss. And just using the excuse of a glitch on a live stream just to make yourself feel better. That's, every time. And even if it is a glitch, I usually just blame it on myself anyway, because at the end of the day, you can't control glitches on exchanges, which, to be honest, I can't even really confirm it's ever happened to me. I could say I felt like there was a glitch. Like, there was one time, I said this story the other day, 2 4th of Julys ago. I'll never forget it. I think it was, could find the exact area where this happened. Let's see. I believe it was, or no, was it August or was it? No, I think it was the 4th of July. Is it back here? No. Oh, yeah. No. Oh, yeah. But it was right here. So I had taken along, believe off the value area low. I don't remember the exact scenario, but I thought I had a stop loss set. I mean, I set a stop loss, and then it disappeared. The exchange glitched. But no, and then on the 4th of July, I'll never forget. I said this yesterday. I showed Mrs. Candles, and I was just like, showed her my phone. I was down I think $18,000, almost 20K. And I was like an inch away. My liquidation level was literally like right there. I missed liquidation by like a penny. And I just remember being like, I feel like I had my stop loss set. I don't know what happened there. I probably just didn't set it. I should have double-checked it either way, right? Check on your trades. Manage your trades. And if I got liquidated there, I would not blame the exchange. I would blame myself. Whether it was a glitch or not, I would always blame myself. Because, if I did make the mistake of not setting, even if it was a glitch, right, could have checked in on the trade, right? I just kind of it was dumping. I was like, I got a stop loss set. Should have double-checked it. So now I'm kind of like a spaz, double-checking my super chats. Super chats. Stop losses. Yeah, that will happen sometimes. Sometimes if it wicks through your stop loss, it won't get triggered. That does happen. That has happened to me before. But it never just glitches and takes it off completely. But again, even that, if it's gonna wick through the stop loss and not stop you out, that's got another reason to just double check your stuff, right? Even if you think your stop loss got hit, but let me just make sure that got triggered in case I got to manually close the trade. Don't say that out loud. The market's listening. Shout out to Dremer. It was a little glitchy for a minute. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Happened to me on silver. Yeah, if the asset's super volatile, sometimes it will. Sometimes it just wick right through and not fill your order. Let's lose it. I'm game. Shout out to Teresa. A scam wick will come mid-February. Scam wick up or scam wick down? My first time here. Hello, guys. Shout out to Max. Welcome in, Max. Shout out to the Mafia's already welcome in, bro. Welcome to the Mafia, brother. Subscribe. Smash the like button if you want to make money trading Bitcoin, whether price goes up or down. And hopefully Never mind. I was going to bring up the holy stream again, but I'm not going to say it. But shout out to Max. Welcome in. Thanks, guys. I think it says Max Mueller. We're doing another short stream today. Man, we're creeping up on 4 hours here. 4 hours. But yeah, I was kind of just like waiting to see if we can get a higher low to form here, but well, I don't know. We might be waiting here all day. Welcome, me too. Shout out to Skolov. I don't know if I can. I don't know if that's correct. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Are you shorting? Yes, I have been short for quite some time. I'm short from 98K up 8,300 bucks. I have profits locked in here. This is probably close to 10K with the realized profits, but 83K unrealized, and then I'm short here over on Blowfin up 10.6. Also profits locked in here. Not as much, though. So, yes, we are indeed short. But, yeah. Look at silver, please. Yeah, we could take a look at silver. No problemo. Oh, wow. Shout out to Max. Yeah, we did just take a long. I mean, I sent a text message to somebody secretly. But no, I am holding a long as well from earlier. Long is from the 2-hour SFP, which maybe gets stopped out. Where did FEMAX go? There it is. So, yeah, long from a little while ago from here. So we're long, we're short, we're making money in both ways. Kind of weird. Feels like a scam. Up, down, left, right. Making money. Doesn't matter. Oh, you said Eugene Skuloff. That's how it says. I was going to say, did I say Eugene? Yeah. Shout out to Eugene. I'm going to call Eugene from now on. Skull Cruncher said, thank you, Frankie. I don't know what you're thanking me for, but shout out to you, bro. Welcome in. No problem. Anytime. I have a long open on light USDT. Can you check it, please? Shout out to Max. Yeah, I'll try to take a look at light. MicroStrategy. Yeah, shout out to Taylor. We actually already took a look at MicroStrategy. I'll take a look at MicroStrategy first. MSTR. Whoops. There we go. So MicroStrategy, very similar to Bitcoin, upper value, obviously what we've looked at for quite some time. Lose the upper value. Price is very likely to seek out previous value, which was very obviously sitting down here. And shocker, we get the move down to the value area high PLZ, bounce, 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 get accepted into the range, in which case we look to the value area low. Now we're sitting at the value area low. So might be able to kind of respect this value area a little bit because it is a high value area, or a fair value area, I should say. But you have come down to the level, right? You have some bull divs below the low. I don't really trade MicroStrategy. Not really. I don't trade. I have never traded MicroStrategy. But your goal here would be to get above the value area low at 132.73. If you can hold this, you do have some bull divs confirmed there. If you can hold that, of course, you got to be careful around your local levels, which would be, for me personally, my Fibonacci retracements. All right, I'm not going to pull every single level. But just within the profile, right, if we pull this full retracement, this would be the first, this would be the biggest level of resistance. I can't guarantee you get all the way back up there. But hey, if you fake out the low, reclaim it as support, get a push up, you could look to go to the PLC, flip the PLC, go to the high, but I would be very careful here for another rejection back to the downside. But you got your value area low at about 132.18. You got your POC sitting at 163.81, and then you got your value area high sitting at about 174, 175. Wouldn't be until we started cracking the 786 at about 177 where I would look for, maybe a move up towards 198. Let's see. Shout out to Mark Dutch in the chat. Welcome in, brother. Welcome in. Uh, Frankie's still going. Frankie going hard. Rudy said, we still doing the late stream or nah? I mean, I guess if we're running into the intro of the 545 stream, take 5 is the best. I'm a big fast break guy. Take 5s are fire too. Fast breaks are probably my favorite candy bar. Not my favorite classic candy bar, but probably my favorite candy bar. It's probably, it's like one of the least common candy bars, I feel like. Let me just check light really quickly. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this just because I don't know how many other people want to really see this, but I will take a look at light, assuming this is what you want to see. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what this is. Kind of a wonked out chart. You got a freshly printing red dot on the daily. Yeah, I mean, you got to be careful with the alts. Yeah, and there's just not, yeah, I got like no price history here or information on the higher time frame. So this is difficult to make any calls on the higher time frames. Of course, as Bitcoin sits in a bearish bias, I would have to anticipate the same thing for this. From a lower time frame perspective, maybe you get some 4-hour bullish divergences down here. Could try to pull, yeah, like this is just super illiquid, kind of like wonky profile, wonky price action. I would be careful with this in general, and I don't know how well this is going to respect the TA. Very hard to give any kind of like respectful or respected kind of levels here. I don't know what the market cap is on this thing, but yeah, man, I think it was Max asked for this. Shout out to you, brother. I wish I can give you something good here, but I don't want to give you bad information. If I can't get like a clean read on this, I don't want to give you bad levels. Which is why I try to avoid looking at like just kind of random alts. Yeah, you got a weekly up here. I would just be careful. You got a fresh daily red dot, 16-hour. Yeah, this thing is, I personally wouldn't touch this. I'm not saying it has to go to zero. I would just personally not be trading this. This thing is just super wonked out. But in a long, try to give you a little bit of info here. 4-hour green dot and bullish divergence is what you would hope gives you the move up, in my opinion. And again, kind of hard to give you, yeah, like local targets here, maybe about 33 cents, up to about 35 cents. Again, can't guarantee you it gets up there just because I have like no read on this. But if you can get this green dot to print, get a little bullish divergent, that'd be your best bet, in my opinion, to get some kind of a push to the upside. Of course, not guaranteed, not financial advice. If I can get a better read on this, if there was better price action, I'd be able to give you a little more detail, but it's got like no information here on the higher time frames. So shout out to Max. Sorry, man. I wish I could give you more on that. Silver, I'll take a look. I'll take a quick look at silver here. Silver getting the bounce here on your previous Fibonacci extension. Not super uncommon. Let's pull this to your last significant low. Okay. I will pull that back over here. So yeah, silver obviously and gold getting got the big dumps to the downside. Pull this up on Heiken Nashi. Yeah. Let me pull this up over here real quick. All right, so man, not a bad volume profile there either. All right, fill the range in full. But yeah, holding the Fibonacci extension, holding the value area low. I would say at this point, to be honest, right, like looking at our 4-hour money flow, we've been kind of watching this on the medium time frames. Money flow, obviously thick in the green still, but attempting to trend out there on the 4-hour. 2 hours been in the red. 3-hour getting a blood diamond potentially here. There it is. Blood diamond on the 3-hour. Yeah, you got the high time frame red dots. I mean, you do have the 2-week red dot printing. You have the monthly red dot printing. I think the 2-week, yeah, daily. I mean, you're still thick in the green here, but I'll give you some key levels here. To the downside, I'll hide the extension levels. I would be looking right here, right? I think we actually might have looked at this profile. Either way, whether you come down or not, like this is the only profile that can be pulled here significantly. Value area low, POC, value area high. Got another profile up here potentially. That could be worth looking at as well. But I would look at below, right? Just to give a little context here, right? Back into the range, right? Almost a full fill, bounce, back in, POC, value area low, deviate the low, back in, flip the POC, value area high, back to the POC, breakout, money flow continues up. So these are levels I would look at to the upside and the downside. Just for like context. I would be cautious of the higher time frame red dots. But if you could get the continuation up here, 1 hour money flow trying to trend back up, 16-hour green dot looking to print. If you get that 16-hour green dot, you see that 1 hour money flow cross into the green, may be able to continue a bit of a trend to the upside. Get inside this value area low sitting at 90.32. Could open the doorway to the POC at 93.15. Flip that, looking up towards 95.56. If you get the move down first, I would personally be interested in looking at the volume profile down below. No real confluence. I mean, the POC zone's interesting, but you don't really have massive confluence tightly on any of those levels. Might be able to get some confluence on the value area high. So I would say to the downside, $80. If you lose the $80 level, probably going to get accepted into the range. So this would be your key level of support. Lose this, I would personally be looking down to the POC. You could bounce off the 786, but I'd like to see the magnetic touch of the POC. So you're hoping for a bounce here. If you lose it, I'm looking for the bigger drop down. And then again, if you get the continuation up, right? There's your volume profile. You can get these levels on your chart by just copying these numbers and dropping them on your chart. Those would be the key volume profiles I would look at. When price is moving like this, just completely like parabolically and then just massively dumping to the downside, it's like really hard to kind of come up with like significant levels. But doesn't mean you can't get them. Just makes it difficult. So we'll see what happens. Those are the local levels I would look at on silver. Let's see. Might be an interesting time to shout out to Dave Digital said every single weekday right here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Here we are, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Welcome to the Frankie Candles live stream. Hour number 4, pretty much. Frankie, what should I order for dinner? Ravioli or lasagna? Shout out to Lost Travel. I'd have to go lasagna. I'd go lasagna personally. But to be honest, ravioli and lasagna are lower on my list for my favorite Italian meals. Lasagna definitely over ravioli. I'm not a big like ricotta guy. It's just, I don't know. I think it's a texture thing for me. I need some kind of chewable thing in my food, which obviously lasagna is kind of the same thing. I would go chicken parm or penny vodka. I would go penny vodka or chicken parm if I were you. But out of ravioli lasagna, I'd do lasagna. If it's good lasagna, it's good lasagna. Yeah, chicken parm is fire. Ravioli is my vote unless your grandma's making the lasagna. Yeah, but grandma making the lasagna is the best. Jesse saying 5:45 p.m. Let's go. Shout out to you, brother. Oof, penny vodka. Yeah, penny vodka is give me the penny vodka. Shout out to Fiat Level said came to watch Frankie pull his fib. Stayed for the TA. Shout out to Fiat Level. That's crazy. Am I late for the stream? Shout out to Two Wheel Crypto. You are here at hour number 3, minute number 47. For the old stream, for the 5:45 live stream, you would have been right on time, though. Chicken Parm, I know him too well. Shout out to Creighton C. Yeah, Chicken Parm is goated. I will say, though, probably my favorite Italian food in general is probably just a loaf of real Italian bread with my mom's macaroni sauce. Just butter the Italian bread, dip it in the sauce. Unbelievable. I could eat 7 loaves of Italian bread. It's a miracle that I have a fast metabolism because I should be a very large person. Yeah, shout out to Independent. At least we're getting volatility. It was boring. Yeah, I was getting super, super boring. It's been a lot better on the earlier live streams. We get a little bit more excitement, thank God. A little something to do. But yeah, obviously, key levels below remain exactly the same, guys. Watching the local fib until we come down here. If we lose that 786, this is the last place to bounce off of, in my opinion. If we lose this 786, I'm looking to take out the low again. And again, dangerous levels underneath us. Not a lot of support till about 70K. But if we're going to continue our retracement, you really do want to hold at least on top of this at the end of the day, on top of that 786. 73, 680, 73, 693. You do not want to lose this. You lose this, yikes. If you hold it, it keeps the opportunity of looking for that 2-hour SFP and potential. Another thing to look for is the bullish divergence. Do I feel super good about that? Not necessarily. We have a little bit of a lack of confirmation. But if you want that level to hold, that's it right there. Lose it. Looking down towards 70K. We're eerily close to it. And the shorts will continue to pay us out. So we'll see what happens. But I actually subbed and liked for the Italian banter. Shout out to T. Jones. Let's go, bro. My paisan. Welcome back. You should see the Italian banter that we have at the table in New York. Usually goes with someone jumping across the table and choking somebody out. All out of love, of course. It's crazy. I'd bring like friends over to my grandma's house for my family's house for like dinner. They'd be like, "Is your family always like all yelling at each other?" Like, yeah, we're just talking. We just talk really loud. That's it. They're like, yeah, did you see that thing that happened? Yeah, I saw it. What? It's like everyone's just yelling at each other, but no one's mad. It's hilarious. Shout out to all the Italians out there. But welcome in, bro. Thank you for the sub. Speaking of that, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss when we drop our market updates or when we go live. Check out the beginner series if you guys are looking to learn how we trade these volume profiles and make money trading whether price goes up or down. I'm going to continue to hold the short here on WeX. We're going to continue to hold the short over here from 90,500, 90,600. If I stop out of the long, guys, I might not even move my stop loss to break even. I might just take the loss there and continue to get paid out on the shorts. But if it pops up, we'll be able to capitalize on the move to the upside. But that's all I got here, guys. That's all I got. Almost a 4-hour live stream. Thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you guys for hanging out with us here, having fun, making money on the Frankie Candles live stream. Shout out to Creighton C. Shout out to Mr. Market. Shout out to Dave Digital, Tony D, Jesse, Darren Does Things, Rudy with a Y, Rudy with an I. Shout out to Jay Tones, our fellow new Mafia member. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate every single one of you. I got to go eat food because now I'm hungry and I haven't eaten anything all day. So, yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. That's all I got. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong!
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy. On the road, here we go, yeah we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming on my landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like. Yeah, you about to see me on demand like. You know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag.
Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the roll, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the roll, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the